Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Monday night live stream. Tonight is going to be a bit of a lively one, I think. I was just looking there as I kind of was getting everything set up. There was 44 people already sitting in the chat waiting for this to start. I think that might be some kind of a record. So good evening, folks. Good evening to one and all. If you're brand new here, please shout up in the chat. Would love to know if we've got any newbies in tonight, first time in the chat. I'm sure all of the regulars are already here. I'm already seeing all of the names flying up, and I'll have I got time to go through everybody? I'm gonna just dive in and say hello to a few people, and because the chat's been going on for ages. We got Arnold was in nice and early. Good evening, Arnold. Krabby Vision was nice and early as well. Nice to see you, mate. David Moffat. We have Different Gear TV. Hello, Busey. We've got Al Cluley. We've got Blizzars. We've got who else? We've got John France. We've got Steve Evans, we've got Jonathan Wyborn, Mark Coxey, nice to see you as well, mate. We also got Robert Zunk saying he's in early for a change. Nice to see you, Mr. Z. How you doing? We've also got Christian Reeves, of course, the legend that's in there controlling you lot as the mod tonight. We've got Robert Marshall in as well. We have Matt Mountain. It says, evening, ladies and gents. Hope you're all well. Thank you very much, Matt. I'm very well, thanks. Jim Zorm's in as well. Jonathan Wyborn saying he's never played Kill Team. Don't play much 40k yet. Well, that's what we'll be chatting about tonight anyway. We've got Dan Hughes. Good evening, Mr. Hughes. How are you? We've got Pomsy's in as well. We've got VJ in. Good evening to you, gents. Christopher Warden. Glenn Griffin. Hello to you, folks. We've also got Peter Nicholas. Tony Howell. I'm going to miss somebody out here somewhere. I have got live chat switched on as well, so I apologise if I do miss anybody. We've got Jason as well. We've got Barry Kleiber. We've got Mike Wyant. Marco's in. Andrew Fairbanks says good afternoon. He's at the eye doctors. Hope to rewatch later. Hope everything's okay, mate. Take care. We've got Animus Oculus in. Malkavian. David Delaney. It says, oh boy, here we go. Big reminder to like the video. A like on the video would be a huge thing. Thank you very much. Got Rui Luis in as well. We've got Vincent VT. Nice to see you, mate. We've got Topher Toad. It says, what up? How you doing, mate? Robert says he learned how to get YouTube on our TV, but my wife won't let me watch Andy's videos. I always thought she was a good one, mate. We've got Nathan Taylor in as well. Hello, mate. We've got Fat Cat. We've got Gillian in. I remembered how to pronounce it this time. G'day, mates, to you too. Dancing and tell her it's Geordie Show. Tim Kelly's in as well. And Tony Tiger. Right, that was a good way to kind of rush through and catch up with a load of names because it's going to be a bit of a lively one tonight. Hello, Matthew Wilkinson as well. So tonight, the chat tonight, obviously the title of tonight's video is this the death of Kill Team? Now, I want to kind of already start this one with a bit of a preface. Obviously, it's not clickbaity. That's what we're talking about tonight. Is this the end of Kill Team with the new edition of 40k coming? However, there's a question mark in that title, isn't there? So I'm asking the question. I'm not telling you it's the death of it. We also know as well, Games Workshop have already said they are going to continue to support this game. They've got some new releases planned. We'll come on to that in a little bit. So they're not killing the game off. That's not what I'm suggesting tonight. They're not killing the game off. The game isn't going anywhere. However, that said, what I'm suggesting is, with the new Kill Team lower point cost entry point, and we'll go into the details of this in a little bit, could this be the thing that actually migrates a lot of Kill Team players, current Kill Team players, away from Kill Team? Does it also signal that newcomers coming into our hobby now don't pick up Kill Team as an entry point, and so the game gradually sort of dies on its own through lack of players as opposed to lack of support? And there's pros and cons. I've got my lists. I'm all organised. I've got all my stuff tonight again. So we'll get onto that anyway in a bit. But that's the topic for tonight. I'd love to know your thoughts. If you're a Kill Team player, if you're a 40k player, if you don't play either, if you're not interested, let me know why you're not interested. I'd love to hear everybody's point of view tonight. Kieran's in as well. Says, I'll make sure I'm quiet on it earlier. Kieran, I love those kind of chats, mate. Don't get me wrong, mate. I think lockdown's making me a bit cranky and stuff as well. So I think I read things sometimes into comments. I was saying to my wife today. I said I think one of the issues I've got at the minute is like 95% of the conversations I have at the moment, probably higher, are by text online now. And when things get lost in translation a little bit. So I apologise if I'm rubbing anybody up the wrong way, but I'm sure it's just a bit of lockdown crankiness at the minute. Krabby's saying it was so clickbaity. That's the point, mate. As I said in the comments today, clickbait's a funny thing, right? Because clickbait it is essentially when you put something in a title that has nothing to do with the video, and you're literally just trying to pull people in. Like if I put a really provocative kind of thumbnail up there that had nothing to do with the video, so you click on it just to because you're intrigued by it, and then you get there and it's like, oh, that's what clickbait is. What I'm doing is just good marketing. I'm trying to be a little bit provocative in the titles, a little bit provocative in the thumbnail, so you come in interested. But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about that subject, so it's not technically clickbait. VJ says, wow, I think that's the fastest Andy's ever sped through the hellos. There were so many in, mate. We're already up to like 84 people at the moment. I'd be on here till 9:30 going through probably, I think. Hello, VJ, by the way. John S. still says, evening all, some painting some Pathfinders for Dead Zone. Don't reckon 40k will kill Dead Zone. Will kill Dead Zone or will kill Team? Oh yeah, sorry, Dead Zone, yeah, of course. We've got Standard Tabletop. Hello, mate, how are you doing? For those that haven't checked out Standard Tabletop, a brand new YouTube channel, please do go and check them out. Thank you very much, Luke. Dancing Kill Team died for me a while ago as soon as they started making it bigger, basically. I wanted a tight little game, not one with power creep and half an army on the board. I'll touch onto that in a little bit, mate, because Kill Team ended up being something that I don't think I really wanted either, but probably for different reasons. James is saying he wants more kill zones for terrain. I think we'll start to see some of that stuff coming through as well. Palmsy saying, as I said on Twitter, I hope it's not dead. I still not finished painting my starter box. You've had it for 2 years, mate. Antonio is in as well. Says, hey guys, hello, Antonio. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Standard Tabletop, Luke there, saying, I nearly gave Kill Team a go several times, never bothered in the end. Dan saying they should do a Warcry type game. I'll touch on that as well, mate. Reading my mind, I think we're on the same wavelength at the minute. Mike says it would be nice to re-release the Kill Zones with combined rules for both Kill Team and 9th. Glenn saying what went wrong with Kill Team. For me, it was too much too fast. Scott Webster, good evening, Scott. How are you doing? Saying just got into Kill Team, be a real thing for it to stop. However, the combat patrol interests me. Like I said before, and I don't know if anybody missed that right at the start, but Kill Team isn't going anywhere technically. Games Workshop are not killing off Kill Team. They have publicly said they're going to keep supporting Kill Team. There is a place in the lineup for Kill Team. They see Kill Team as a completely separate game from 40k. It just happens to use the same models. In a similar way to how they see Warcry as a completely separate game, it just happens to use some of the same models as AOS. So the game isn't going anywhere. From a Games Workshop perspective, what I think potentially could happen is, in fact, let's kind of dive into it. So I'm going to give some props here to Kieran Byrne. The conversation we had today, it kind of actually some of the points he made echoed what some of the notes I'd already written for tonight as well. But I see essentially there are 5 kinds of players out there when it comes to Kill Team. So, and I fall into one of these 5 groups, and I'm sure most of you fall into one of these 5 groups as well, if you are either have been tempted by Kill Team or you currently play Kill Team. So the first one, I think, and I think this is potentially probably the one that I sit in. It's the players who wanted a small scale 40k game, but they got into Kill Team. Yeah, sorry, I started reading my own comments ahead there. So players who wanted a small-scale 40k and they got into Kill Team to maybe kind of start as a slow grow into full-scale 40k, or maybe with the idea of maybe getting into 40k down the line, but being able to play with a small amount of the models. I fell into that camp. I was one of those players that always loved 40k models, didn't really have the time to be playing full-scale 40k games, but this was kind of what I wanted. I'll come back later as to why I kind of changed some of my opinions on it a little bit, but that was the group I fell into. I think there's a second group of players who used to play 40k, maybe recently or many years ago, and for whatever reason, whether they basically just don't have the time anymore, families, jobs, that kind of stuff, whether they kind of fell out of love with the rules, didn't like 8th edition or whatever it was, for whatever reason, people who probably had 40k models lying around, they stopped playing 40k kind of thing, and they got back into it. Hello, well hung and done. Donated through the super chat. It says Shadow War. I think he's just said Shadow War Armageddon. Yes, that's on my list, mate. We'll come to that bit. So yeah, people who used to play 40k and were tempted back in because they either had the models or they had less time. There's a third group, I think, of players who just like literally sort of. They kind of jump on the latest thing. So, if I go back to that first group, sorry, I think I kind of missed what I was going to say. The first group are players like me who wanted a small scale of 40k. If I was still playing Kill Team now, I would potentially be jumping onto small scale 40k in 9th edition because at 500 points, that was the game that I wanted in the first place. Sorry, this is where I wanted to be. This was the game I wanted in the first place. I wanted a small scale version of 40k. You could always play like 500 points, but the game was never really designed around 500 points. It was always a little bit kind of, the missions weren't designed for that. The board size wasn't designed for that kind of stuff. So the second group, the players who used to play a 40k but didn't have time to play a full size, they potentially maybe used to play a kind of Kill Team, or they might still play a Kill Team now, but now there is a valid small scale version of 40k, they'll probably jump ship from Kill Team and move across into 40k in these 500 point games. The third group are the players who just jump on a new thing. So essentially these are the players that jumped on a Kill Team when it first came out because it was the new thing. Now basically there's something new coming, it's 9th edition, they're going to jump on that as well. So they're going to leave Kill Team behind and jump onto the new thing. I think that the comment that Kieran put later on was the ones that like the fear of missing out, those kind of players. The fourth group I think are the players who just kind of, they're just starting now. So anybody that's just getting into Games Workshop hobbies, just starting out in tabletop hobbies, and they're looking for an entry point, and they see kind of 40k is the big game. They've got AOS, they've got Warcry, they've got Kill Team, all these different things. I think if they're looking to jump in, I think maybe the first. Thank you very much, Arnold. He's saying, "Oh, that's my screen spot." I think what those folks will be saying will be, well, I might as well start with small points of 40k. And I can build it over time into a bigger game if that's what I want to do, rather than start with Kill Team, learn those rules, and then find I want to expand, and then I've got to learn some different rules. The fifth group are the players who just love Kill Team. They play it now, they play in competitive Kill Team events, they travel all over the place playing Kill Team. They're just going to stay playing Kill Team. There's no reason why they should change it all. No reason to change. They love the game, they're just going to stay there. So I think there's potentially a big chunk of Kill Team players who could be pulled away from Kill Team with the really high focus now from Games Workshop on the entry point of 40k being much more easy to get into and smaller scale. So I think that's one of the things I want to kind of talk about. So it's not that I think Games Workshop are going to kill the game off. I think potentially it could fade into the background a little bit, just purely by the number of people that are still playing it. Now, Games Workshop, for all they supported Kill Team, I mean, certainly in the early games, they brought a lot of stuff out. They brought a hell of a lot of stuff out. But over time, that's really pulled back. Like, when things like those kill zones were sold out, they never replaced them. They never filled them back up again. We've never had any specific models just for Kill Team. You could say the Rogue Trader box, but again, that was almost a bit of a, like, well, what the hell is this kind of thing? We've never really had any Kill Team specific models like you get with Warcry. Like I say, the kill zones were all out of stock. The starter sets sell out and they don't come back. That's a bit of a GW kind of trait, however. But the kill team starter sets sell out and they don't come back. And they're now talking about they're releasing new things for Kill Team. However, what they've just released recently, or they've just announced that they're releasing recently, is like the cards for writing down your Kill Team like warband type thing, and some dice. Like is that really what they're saying is supporting the game? Like people who didn't have them cards from the starter sets have been playing without them for such a long time now. That's almost a case of like, is that it? Now, I think going forward, I think that they will support it, because I think what they'll do is they'll start to bring out those kill zones again, but I almost think they're bringing them out because now there's a bigger market for them. And that bigger market is the fact is anybody just getting into 40k, starting at that 500 point level, the smallest board size is 2 kill team or kill zone boards, side by side. They're buying some terrain, and I think now there's a bigger audience, if you like, for those kill zones. So I think they probably will support it as new models come out for 40k. Those models will get profiles. We'll see that in White Dwarf and stuff. Those models will get profiles. You'll be able to play them in Kill Team. However, the fact that they are really pushing and really supporting and doing quite a lot of talk now about this entry into 40k, that's the bit that I think will start to tempt people away. I think that's the bit that will kind of start to pull things away. Now, I'll talk about some of the differences and stuff and the entry points into both games and some of the good things about one, the good things about the other. I'll come on to that in a second, but I just wanted to back into the chat because the chat's scrolling away there. There was loads of things that I want to kind of catch up with. Glenn saying what went wrong with Kill Team. Was it, for me, it was just too much too fast. I think we touched on that one, didn't we? Yeah. Scott said, Topher Toad saying, closet full of 40k, haven't played in years. This is the perfect opportunity if you can kind of like sit down with somebody who has a rule book or something like that, potentially kind of, you know, get a like borrow a codex or something like that and just give it a try, really, especially when you've already got all those models. Yoakum's in. Good evening, Yoakum. VG saying, would love to see Kill Team reformatted rules to be closer to Warcry. Yeah, I think Dan mentioned that as well. I would like to see that. I think what will make Kill Team survive long term with an established player base is if they really do break it away into something very different and support it differently. Like really focus down on those kind of almost sort of super secret kind of missions and make it more like sort of, what's the words I'm looking for? Those kind of ultra covert kind of kill teams going in rather than just a small band of the normal stuff. If they started releasing boxes like they do for Warcry, which is basically a kill team in a box with multiple different models and different stats and stuff in it, that could really give Kill Team some arms and legs. But yeah, unfortunately, that's not how they started it really. Pomsy saying, you like the idea of Kill Team because it means I can buy all kinds of 40k models I like in small groups. You can, mate. It was one of the things that interested me as well, and certainly is. However, what I would say is, and this is kind of coming out of some of the stuff I want to talk about a little bit later on as well, about cost and entry point and stuff, it is possible to buy one box of models and build yourself a 100-point kill team with like kind of like £35 worth of models or something like that, right, with one box. However, what you've got is maybe 5 or 6 models, things like Grey Knights, things that are a bit more point heavy, things like the Death Watch box. What you've got is you've then got basically a kill team of just basically 5 of the same models, essentially. If you want to try and do a bit of list building, a bit of tweaking, like for example, I think my first sort of Space Marine force for kill team was something like 5 or 6 Primaris intercessors with a couple of scouts. One was a sniper, one wasn't a sniper. Now, if I want to buy them, I have to buy a box of intercessors, which is £35 in the UK for 10 of them, and I won't use like say 5 of them or something. I'd have to buy a box of scouts, which is £20 to get the one scout that I want, and then I have to buy a box of scouts with snipers, which is another £20 to get the other one sniper scout, because they don't come with the sniper rifles in the normal scout. Now you could kind of kit bash them in bits and pieces like that. So let's just say you can get the 2 scouts out of one box. That is still £55. Now for £55, you can buy a stock collecting box. They're priced between £55 and £60 now. And if you buy a stock collecting box, unfortunately for Kill Team, there are a lot of models that are in those stock collecting boxes that you can't use in Kill Team. You can't use the Dreadnought that you get in the Space Marine one. You can't use the what is it? Is it like a Vindicator or something that you get in the Bloody Angels one? You can't use the barge thing that you get in the new AdMech one. You can't use the what's it called, like the Stalker model thing that you get in the Necron one, for example. So you end up buying these kits, if you like, these stock collecting boxes. You get models that you can't use in the game. So then what do? You're probably thinking, oh, well, I'd quite like to use that. Oh, here's a 500-point game of 40k where I can use those things. And they've already said that stock collecting boxes are going to be almost like, if you've got a stock collecting box, you're pretty much there for a 500-point game. Like, there's nothing stopping you playing like a 400-point game or a 450-point game, if you like. So it's not, you're getting in for maybe £55, £60 in the UK, obviously more expensive elsewhere, but then everything is relatedly more expensive as well. So that it starts to become less restrictive when you start to play low point 40k games, because as far as we know at the minute, there's no restriction to the models that you can take, only as long as they fit within your 500 points. So that's one of the problems is it seems like you can kind of just get into Kill Team and just buy a box and get playing, and technically that's true. But if you want to kind of build a list, if you want to have anything more than all of the same models, you're buying multiple boxes, and by that point you're starting to get into star collecting territory. And when you're in star collecting territory, you're almost at 500 points for the full scale game without any restrictions. Now with £55, £60 for a UK price, you're still not actually that far out from just going, well, I want a star collecting box for Necrons, and I want a star collecting box for Death Guard, and I want a star collecting box for Vanguard Marines. And actually, instead of just painting up maybe 10 models or 15 models for Kill Team, you're potentially painting up maybe 20 or 25 models for 40k. So it's not a huge leap. The difference being that if you want to grow from a 500 point game in 40k, you have somewhere to go with it. In Kill Team, you don't really. And that's why I can say this now. That entry point wasn't really there before, or wasn't really publicly played or publicly talked about or accessible, because nobody played 500 point games. As much as it's, we can all say, well, you could play 500 point games before. The missions weren't designed for it. The list building wasn't designed for it. The detachments wasn't designed for it. 9th edition has been, and they have said themselves on the Warhammer community Twitch channel. If you watch their latest Twitch thing, I think it might have just been last week. They mentioned themselves is that they think that people find getting into 40k is quite difficult, because they think, well, it's going to take me the best part of a year to paint a 2,000 point army, and so people get put off. They basically drift away before they ever get an army ready, and they feel they can't play with what they've got until they've got a full size 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 point army. And that's why they wanted to bring this in. And it's interesting they're talking like that, because they obviously don't see Kill Team as that entry point to 40k in the same way. Otherwise, that's where they would have directed people. So I think there's more to it, to be fair. I don't think it's as clear cut as just saying, they're going to support Kill Team, everything's fine. They are going to support Kill Team, but I think they really see it as something completely different, and not even a feeder into 40k anymore. A bit like Necromunda isn't a feeder into 40k. A bit like how Blood Bowl, for example, isn't a feeder into AOS. I think they see it as a very much standalone game. Let's have a look. VGCN, leave the mini 40k to the new 9th edition. David Moffat says, Andy's no catfish, he delivers the goods. Thank you, David. Vincent says, in Germany we call that Reichserisch. I've got no idea how that would translate back, to be fair. I probably just swear at a load of people there. Christopher says, Combat Patrol was made to just have another reason to purchase the Killzone boards. But the Killzone boards aren't available anymore. You can't buy them. That's the problem. So unless they're going to start producing more of them, which would make perfect sense, but it's not like they're trying to sell off old stock. They don't have any stock of that stuff. Krabby says, do it. Get a burn swim shot on the thumbnail. Yeah, I think, well, not technically politically correct, mate, is it? Vincent says, means the title is blowing the content way out of proportion. Yes, exactly, mate. David said, I haven't tried Warcry. Sounds a bit more like my style. I love Warcry. I'll defend Warcry till the cows come home. I lost my way with AOS. It wasn't what I wanted it to be. The fact that it changed over time. Warcry is exactly what I wanted from a small-scale AOS game. Palmsy's saying he's had it for 2 years, true, but I keep buying more stuff. Marco says, if the starter set has enough models to play 500 points in Necrons and Marines, it has board and terrain that would shift so many Kill Team players to 40k. My honest, we're going to find out on Saturday what's in the box. I think we've seen what's in the box when we've seen all of those leaks over the last few weeks. That certainly seems to be. I don't think they'll be far off 500 points, potentially even more. It would make sense if 500 points is their starting point. It would make sense to have about 500 points in the box. I very, very highly doubt that there'll be any boards in there, and I would very much doubt there'll be any terrain in there. I think we're going to see the big hardback kind of rulebook, the main 40k rulebook, We'll probably get some dice in there and some measuring rulers. But I'd be really, really surprised. I'd put money on the fact that we won't see a board and terrain in there. David Delaney says clickbait isn't inherently a bad thing. Also, I hope they make a game that's like Warcry but in 40k. I think when it's clickbait is a bad thing. I think it's the fact that we use the term clickbait to cover a lot of things now. It's the actual meaning of clickbait. The proper meaning is actually bad. It means you're trying to like bait people in to click on it and not delivering the goods, if you like. Yeah, cough, Shadow War Armageddon. I think that was meant to almost be. That was Warcry originally. That was Kill Team originally, really. I've got no idea what the hell went on there because that was just never supported, really. It was almost like they wanted to try and launch some new terrain. How do we package this terrain up and sell lots of it? All right, let's just call it kind of Necromunda 40k, basically, which is what that was. Jonathan says, Kill Team worked very well for a school club I ran. If I'm teaching kids and now I'm more likely to run 500-point games, I think that's kind of where I'm coming from, really, mate. I think we're talking about an hour's play time. I think Kill Team potentially plays a bit longer than that because of the amount of extra rules and things that there is, but we'll come on to that stuff in a bit. James Hannah's in. Good evening, mate. Matthew saying, I tried Kill Team for about 4 games, made an Orc team and Deathwatch team. Just felt like I was playing small 40k. I also kept playing Tau. That would kill me from across the board with no line of sight. Yeah. I mean, I found Kill Team really interesting, actually, and I still like it now, to be fair. There's a couple of things I didn't really like about it. There are a lot of dice rolls. The fact that you were rolling to hit, rolling to wound, rolling to save, rolling for disgustingly resilient if you played against Death Guard, and then rolling for injuries as well on top of it. You could do all of that dice rolling and then just go, oh, nothing happened. It's one of the things I love about Warcry is the fact that there is no kind of save. It's just I'm rolling a hit. This is how many times I've hit you, and they basically put loads more wounds onto models because it's so much more satisfying to hit, but then be kind of be strong enough to take those hits than it is to just keep saying I saved it. It feels like it almost takes the energy out of the game if you basically just keep missing. So you've got this big armoured Space Marine comes running across the field. It kind of charges in, swings his axe, and you just go, oh no, he missed. And it's like, oh. So yeah, that's one of the things I wasn't as keen at. I missed out a lot of the rules when I played it, so I didn't play with specialisms. I've mentioned this before. I didn't play with specialisms. I kind of like some of the stratagems. I used my control points to kind of re-roll dice, basically, which is pretty much it. But I used to kind of play it. But I would say I do like the I go you go nature of like I move all of mine, you move all of yours, and then we kind of work through, right, who's got shooting first, who's shooting second, who's charging, who's in combat, that kind of stuff. It slowed the game down a little bit. It got better the more you kind of knew it, the more you understood the game, but it did kind of slow the game down. However, it definitely got past 40k's issue of that first turn kind of annihilation, and we'll see, I guess, when the rules come, if there's anything in there that's going to come up against that. People talk about the way that cover works in Kill Team is really good. I think we're going to see something coming into 9th edition which is going to improve how terrain and cover works as well. I think we'll find out more about that soon. But I think that's another thing really that we mustn't kind of forget, that actually if there's a couple of tweaks that come through in 9th edition that just improve it, and they're focusing by giving us specific missions for smaller point games as well, which we've already seen that they are, this is where it starts. It's not as clear cut as in that they're two completely different games anymore. Tova's saying, yeah, that's him thinking of coming back. Vijay says, speaking of game size, did you see that for 9th they are changing the minimum board size to multiples of Kill Team board? So they're changing all board sizes to multiples of Kill Team board, to be fair, because what they're doing is if you're playing at the... In fact, I think I might even have the thing up here. So let me scroll across to this side. So what we've got here is basically we've got these battle sides here. So Combat Patrol and Incursion, which, as we can see here, Combat Patrol, has it got? I don't think it's got points costs on here, but Combat Patrol and Incursion are the smaller scale. I think they're like 500 point and 1,000 point. What they're saying is the minimum battlefield size, and of course, You can have as big a size as you want, but the minimum size is 44 inches by 30 inches. Kill Team boards are 22 inches by 30 inches. So if you put two of those boards, same with Warcry, you put two of those boards side by side, you've got that. Strike Force, which is the 2,000 points that we know of now, is 44 inches by 60 inches. Now that's 4 of the Kill Team boards, or 4 of the Warcry boards. If you put 4 of them together, you've got exactly 44 inches by 60 inches. So it's no real surprise like that the Kill Team boards or these new, or the kill zones should be something we see coming back. Onslaught, which is 3,000 points, we're starting to get the bigger size games now, 44 inches by 90 inches. We're talking about 6 of those boards side by side. So everything in the new version, people are saying, well, you know, why have they picked these weird sizes? Well, like, why is it like 3'8" across? That's a stupid size. It's because it is exactly the same size as those Killzone boards. So I've got no doubt we're going to see more of those Killzone boards coming back. These are minimum sizes. If you play on 6x4 now, play on 6x4 in the future, it makes no difference. I've actually got a mat here all ready to go, which is 44 inches by 30. It's on my 6x4 table now. And actually, when it's in the middle of the table, you don't lose that much, to be fair. I mean, obviously you're losing a foot from the side and things, but it's not tiny. 2 kill team boards side by side, actually. I mean, it's too big for a coffee table, I would say, but it's kind of, you know, it's doable, like more than doable on a dining room table type thing. And essentially, when you're just narrowing the width across the board, all you're doing is you're bringing the game down by a turn, really, because you're starting closer together. Now, whether we see things like range of shooting weapons changing to match with that, whether we see other stuff being tweaked, but it's interesting. It's interesting that they've gone for those sizes, which are exactly the same as the Killzone boards. Yeah, VG saying basically each bracket keeps adding them. Yeah. John Estel says, do we know how 40k is going to work better at smaller sizes? It's a good thing to say, but how does it work in practice? So I'll go back to... so what they're doing is they've actually... So if we look at detachments here, they're saying basically how many detachments that you have... I'll tell you what, let me just zoom in a little bit and make that a bit bigger for you folks to read there. What they're saying here is basically in Combat Patrol you get 1 detachment, Incursion 2. So it's built in at 500 points. You get 1 detachment. If you're not sure what detachments are, they're essentially the way that you form your sort of structure of your army, if you like. When it comes to battles, they're saying it's going to last for about an hour. That's not too bad. When we're talking about the battlefields, we're talking about the size of the battlefield. Then basically what you do is you can roll for combat missions. So it's saying here that there are, in matched play alone, there are 18 Eternal War missions to choose from or randomly generate. And it says that basically to reinforce the distinction between each size of game, there are also different mission sets designed each to replicate the kind of military operations that would likely be performed by forces of that size, ranging from covert raids to massed assaults. So they're specifically making missions that fit the fact that there's less models on the board and it's a smaller board. So this is an example of one of those missions, which is called Incisive Attack. I won't go into the details of this, but another new thing that what they're doing is all of these deployments and the kind of like the maps, if you like, are all measured from the center point of the board. So it doesn't matter if you're playing on a slightly bigger board. It doesn't matter if you're playing on a slightly smaller board. Well, you can play on a slightly smaller board. They recommend a minimum size. But it doesn't matter if you're playing 6x4, for example, because all of those kind of objectives are still the same distance apart, no matter whether you're playing on that 44 by 60 size or you're playing on a 4 foot by 6 foot board. All it means is the deployment zones will be kind of like a little bit wider, if you like, for here, and potentially a little bit deeper. But that's essentially everything is from the center. So, for example, if you can deploy up to that line, you're going to deploy up to that line. Doesn't matter whether you've got an extra foot behind you. If you want to get in and kind of like close combat quick, you're going to deploy it there. So actually, it's not the size of the boards playing a little bit bigger won't really affect the game hugely. What they've also got now is they've got this thing with secondary objectives as well. So you get to choose some secondary objectives. So it's not just about kind of like sort of kill. It's much more about primary and secondary objectives. There's some things now I think where they're talking about you can't kind of like stack. you can't just keep stacking like control points. Not called control points, like objective points. You can't just keep stacking them now as well. You almost max out now. So they're trying to balance some of that, where some armies get there really quick and sit on the objectives. Some armies are a bit slower and come in and basically decimate the battlefield and try and get control points late in the game. So there's a few bits of things to be doing. And what's saying is a combat patrol, fighting battles roughly equate to the size of incursion. 50 power, 1,000 points, which is the next size up. Strike Force is approximately 100 power, 2,000 points, and Onslaught is approximately 150 power, 3,000 points. It says Combat Patrol is aimed specifically at small-scale skirmishes and vanguard operations. As such, it is the perfect size for lunchtime games, as you should easily be able to finish in under an hour, and you don't even need an especially large surface to play on. And this is where they start to say it here really as well. Combat Patrol is a great way to get started with the game if you're taking your first steps into the grim darkness of the far future or are already a fan of Warhammer Kill Team. If you're looking to make the jump over to a larger scale game, as it's a really accessible collection milestone to aim for. If you're already an experienced 40k player, it's a great scale to play while you're learning the new edition and perfect for kicking off your Crusade campaign. I think this is another benefit of this over Kill Team, is you've got this Crusade campaign where you start off small, start with your Star Collecting box, and as you slowly kind of slow grow your army over time, there is options to build through the Crusade campaign and to build up into bigger scale games if you want to. And what they're saying here is you're looking to get a new Combat Patrol army for the new edition, grab yourself a Start Collecting set, and you're pretty much there. So maybe we're talking about maybe he's getting an extra hero model, like an HQ model or something like that. But that's what I mean about basically about a Start Collecting box, and you're probably in and away playing. So I hope that answers your question, John. I'm well behind on the chat again now. Spunky Taz, nice to see you. He says, why are you buggers? I fell for the Shadow War Armageddon hype, and that jaded my view when I heard about Kill Team. I bought Shadow War Armageddon as well. To be fair, it was worth it for the terrain alone. I used the scouts out of there in my Kill Team Space Marine squad, and the orcs I built up to make a Kill Team squad as well. But yeah, I must admit, it did feel like they almost just put this product out there and then went, oh, it's nothing to do with us. I don't even know what this thing is that you're talking about anymore. Krabby saying, if players love Kill Team as a game, why would they move if it's being supported? I agree, mate. I think that, but this goes back to what I was talking about before. I think they'll move because they always wanted a small-scale 40k. They didn't necessarily want something completely different. They just wanted to be able to kind of just to cherry-pick, I want a small army of this, a small army of that, and Kill Team was perfect for that. I think the problem is now is with Combat Patrols, actually that's probably more like what they wanted in the first place. There will be some people who just love Kill Team, and it doesn't even matter whether it's a 9th edition, 10th edition, 12th edition, whatever it is, it makes no difference that they love playing Kill Team. VJ says, GW claim it's being tested with the 9th rules, so I guess we'll see. Mike saying our group plays 4-player Kill Team, and we're interested in the smallest version of new 40k. So that's kind of coming back to what I'm saying. I think there's a mix of people, but my gut feeling from what I'm reading online, from what I'm hearing, from my own personal opinion, is that I think there's a portion of the Kill Team crowd who will jump to small scale 40k. Excuse me. Scott Webster, he says, I don't see them ever doing it, but they should really go the route of Vanguard and Dead Zone, where you get a starter box and then add-ons. No, I can't see them doing it either, mate. And I think the reason that they won't do it is because they're already kind of, the product is already out there. They don't want to repackage it, if you like. So yeah, I don't think it'll happen, but I agree, it will be a good way to do it. Peter saying, what was the first group again? So the first group was players like me, people who got into Kill Team because they wanted a small scale version of 40k, because they just weren't interested in building a big army, weren't interested in playing 3-hour games, that kind of stuff. And then actually now that there is a small scale version, and what should be a popular small scale version, it'll jump across. Excuse me. I've got a glass of lemonade there. I'm getting full of gas now. VG saying in the end, I think it's going to come down if you prefer single minis compared to squad-based control of your models. There's an element of that, mate. Yeah, but is it really hugely that different? Because the size of a kill team board, you hardly spread them out that far away from what would be within what they called like information type thing. I forget what the word is now. Coherency, that's the word I was trying to think of. Glenn saying, from a time perspective, I can see myself playing Combat Patrol for 9th and likely sticking with that. Yep. Starty's in as well. It says, how's things, mate? Very good, mate. Thank you very much. We've got Dice Hand in, says, good evening. Hello, mate. Jason says, oh, they're so clever at taking your money. They are, mate, they are. Richard Smith as well. He says, I'd rather house rule kill cry war team. I think there's a lot of people want that kind of thing as well. But to be fair, if that's where your head's at, it doesn't really matter what they do with Kill Team. It doesn't matter what they do with 9th edition. You've already got your head around trying to kind of create or come up with some kind of house ruling anyway. Josh Price, good evening, Josh. Devin Turner's in as well. VG saying, creating the Crusade system for 9th based on Warcry campaign rules. They really need to add that sort of thing to Kill Team 2.0. Which is another reason why I think a lot of the Kill Team community might jump over to 9th edition small-scale games with Crusade. Gene saying narrative-driven missions, if they were able to give you guns of their own in a game instead of baby 40k. I think these missions are quite narratively drawn. I mean, the one that it was talking about here, if I can very briefly just kind of have a look. What it's saying is the mission briefing: 2 forces have dug in and fought to a stalemate, adopting a new approach to the war. Opportunistic bands of warriors now venture forth into no man's land to seize vital ground and defeat the enemy with surgical assaults across the front. And the mission rules are basically sweep and clear. In this mission, you control an objective marker at the end of your command phase. It remains under your control even if you have no models within range of it, unless your opponent controls it at the end of a subsequent phase. Very much like Warcry's missions, that where basically you can move onto it and then you can leave that in the next turn, but as long as your opponent doesn't come and claim it, it's still yours. It's like I've gone and I've pressed the button. If you want to take over it, you've got to come across and you've got to press the button, kind of thing. You just need to like kind of defend it at that point. And then there's primary objectives, so you get victory points awarded for controlling the objective markers, which are progressive. So at the end of each player's command phase, the player whose turn it is scores 5 points, victory points for each of the following conditions, and there's a number of different things. And the secondary objectives, basically, you can choose from a list of secondary missions, secondary objectives from a list that are relevant to your army or are basically in the main rules as well. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting, I think. Animus is saying Kill Team rules are actually not easy and friendly to new players. Makes perfect sense. I agree, mate, that they're not as straightforward actually as they should have been. It's not really difficult, but it's not as easy. It's nowhere near as easy as Warcry, for example. VGC would be great to see have the same multiple dice special powers as well, but that might put it too close to Warcry. I quite like that as well. I'd like to see that in Kill Team, I think. But I guess then you've got command points, haven't you? Which is essentially the like 40k's version of those, isn't it? Not exactly the same, but you get my point. Devon saying a more thematic Kill Team version would be awesome with new campaign books and cohesive stories. I think we're getting that in 40k now, in main 40k, because what they're saying is the command, the Crusade sort of narrative section. We'll see that grow through the introduction of new codexes where you'll see kind of there's missions for your particular faction, if you like. I think it's going to be very much like what we see in Warcry, where each faction has its own narrative kind of campaign mission to play through, and they're talking about how you can play against somebody that's not necessarily in your gaming group. It's not like you have to play against the same 2 or 3 people all the time to progress through this kind of campaign. You can go down to your local store and say, I want to play a campaign game, the same way you can with Warcry. So there's been a lot of thought put into it, I think. And should it have been in Kill Team? 100% it should have been in Kill Team. What they should have done really is overhauled Kill Team to be the entry point into this, but they haven't. They've almost just skipped over the top of it. They will support it. They'll keep releasing models for it. They'll keep releasing rules for it. They'll keep releasing rules for models as new models come into 40k. But it's almost like on the back of 40k, we'll release some stuff for Kill Team. And I wonder if people stop playing it because Kill Team's not only the new shiny big brother now, but it's also got more interest from narrative perspective, from slow grow perspective, just more fun even. I do wonder how long they'll support that into the future. Dan said, I was very excited by Kill Team when it first came out and bought and painted a ton of scenery. It satisfied me for a while, but as soon as Warcry came out, I realised that's what I wanted. 100% my same impression, mate. I've got a load of Kill Team scenery and boards and things like that. In fact, I've got so much kind of bits of stuff for that I like I say, I've got this mat now exactly the right size, and I wanted to see how big this mat would be on my table, and how much terrain I had. Like, I've painted all of that Kill Team starter set terrain, and actually when you lay it out on this board, it's probably still too much, because Kill Team needs to be dense, it needs to be quite compact, because otherwise line of sights are wide open and you basically got shot off the board. If you had a close combat army, you had no chance if you didn't have a lot of terrain. I think that you won't need as much because you're moving squads around. Wasn't Shadow War Armageddon meant to be small covert teams? Sorry to labour the point, but I think it's valid. It was meant to be, but essentially Shadow War Armageddon was Necromunda rules, wasn't it? It was basically Necromunda rules in a 40k setting as opposed to in a Necromunda setting. For whatever reason, it just died on its ass. Dice Henderson, are Kill Team rules equal to the Combat Patrol in New Ninth? If so, RIP Kill Team. They're not exactly equal, mate. They're actually different rules. Let's not forget, Kill Team isn't 40k. It's not 40k light. It's not 40k small scale. There's different rules. There's different there's a different way of playing. There's different dice rolls. The way it's kind of I go, you go, as opposed to I move and shoot everything, you move and shoot everything. It's a different game completely, really, in the same way Warcry is different to AOS. Peter says he's repairing 5 beat-up old Imperial Guard he's found in the shed. Hope they'll be usable in Combat Patrol. Yep, if they're still available now, mate, like, for example, if they're just troops, if they're just infantry troops, you'll be able to use them, mate. Hello, Gene, by the way. I don't know if I said hello to you, Gene. People chatting already on. Christian sharing the link there for the Facebook group. Thank you very much, Christian. Mark's in as well. Good evening, Mark Berraclough. How are you doing? Said it's wedding anniversary today, so you can't be on for too long. You shouldn't be on at all, mate. Congratulations to you and your wife, by the way. Just scrolling down now, see if I can get to some. I'll see where I'll just dive in because I think we're all over. Spanky Taz is, as someone who's primarily a role player, I've never been able to get into large scale unit heavy war games like full fat 40k. I just felt a bit overwhelmed by it. And so now use these Shadow War Armageddon models in skirmish games like Rogue Stars and Starbreach. I think a lot of people love the 40k models, but just don't want to get stuck into big scale games. I mean, let's not forget, like 500 points we're not talking 10 models. It might be for some armies, but in general, we're probably still talking maybe 20, potentially 30 models for some armies, especially ones like kind of like orcs and infantry for what they're called, like Imperial Guard type stuff. So it's not small scale. It's just much smaller than 2,000. It's a quarter of the size, isn't it? It's a quarter of the size. So if you see what a 2,000 point army looks like now, you're essentially saying it's a quarter of the size. And bearing in mind that something like you'd be able to bring vehicles in, you'd be able to bring your HQ choices in, which take up a lot of points anyway. You'd be surprised how small you could make it in general. Crabby's saying 50% likes versus watches. I haven't even looked at that kind of stuff, mate. I've got no idea how we're doing numbers wise. We've got 132 people in. I'm happy with that. That's a good number. I want to see 132 likes now. Bobby Clark, hello mate. He says many friends in his plays 40k and Kill Team. With 9th edition coming, won't that mean that Kill Team might actually get more players due to the increase in hobbyists in total? If 9th edition is the new shiny thing, and that's what everybody's interested in, I don't see why that should attract players to Kill Team. That's where my head's at the minute. I could be completely wrong, but my head is at if you're interested in it, if you didn't like 8th edition, you didn't like the idea of playing a big army scale game, you haven't already played Kill Team, so it hasn't attracted you so far, and 9th edition's coming along, and we're being told about this new 500 point combat patrols. Why would now be the time to start in Kill Team when there's a potentially a better option of getting into 40k. So that's where my head's at, mate. Pray tell, my friend. That's a nice to see you, mate. Thank you for coming in. Just Kev says, good evening, everyone. Hello, Kev. Julian Anker says, good evening all. Never played 40k, but it shows I may be interested as I'm watching always like the Orcs. I think I'm not trying to sell 40k to you. I'm not here to try and kind of convince you it's the best thing since sliced bread. I've got no idea what it's going to be like. I haven't seen the rules. I haven't played it myself. I don't know anything about it, really. Like there might be stuff in there that I just don't enjoy or I don't like. So I'm not trying to convince you. What I'm just kind of chewing the fat over this, really. But the more I think about it, the more I read the Warhammer community articles, the more I hear about these small scale games, the less reasons I can see to play Kill Team personally. And if I was just coming to the hobby now and somebody says to me that, well, there's two things. There's this game called Kill Team where you can play with like 10, 15 models. It's got its own rules. You can't use all the 40k models. Like, you can't really grow bigger than that and play bigger games. I suppose you can kind of house rule it. There's not a lot in the way of a campaign type stuff. Or you can start with like 500 points in 40k. They have these combat patrol missions. You can grow it over time. You can even grow it through a narrative campaign called Crusade. And you can grow it all the way up to 2,000, 3,000 points over time if you want to. Or you can keep it small and just have lots of like little bits of, I'll have a small army of this and a small army of that if you like. I know which one I would kind of bite for, because then there's no restrictions. You can have any model you want. If you want to have a dreadnought, if you like the idea of having a flyer in your list or something like that, or you just like the tanks, that's where you're going to go, isn't it? David saying at least there's not a sea of thumbs down. I'm not even looking at it to see if there's any. Never mind a sea of them. Julian saying got his Kill Team, only ever painted the scenery. Scenery was awesome, mate. It was probably one of the. Probably, I would say, it's up there with Warcry as the best value set GW have ever done. Just Kev says, me and his friends really gave Kill Team a go and wanted it to work. It was a bit too fiddly with too many rules and too much bookkeeping. We couldn't get into it and move to Warcry. Yes, exactly, mate. Glenn says, any update on your secret potential affiliate? I've emailed them again today. I'll tell you exactly who it is. It's Goblin Gaming that I've been speaking to, mate. I've been really impressed with their service. I've been really impressed with them as a company as well, the conversations I've had with them. I'm just kind of ironing out a few details, really, rather than it. Because I'm doing this full time, I'm trying to see how I can help them and how they can help me, really. So I'm trying to do some kind of fine-tuning of things in the background, really. So, yeah, so that's who it is. I think there's no reason to kind of hide it. Somebody emailed me today asking about it. Did I have a link for it? I'm happy to put the link out if people want it. Because what I'd like to do was if people do want to start buying all the pre-order and stuff, one of the reasons I've not shared it before now was because Goblin Gaming closed down during the COVID crisis. They didn't keep their web stores open. They basically protected their staff and kind of closed the shop down. So it's one of the reasons why it took so long to kind of get up and running, really. But they're open again now. So that's why it took so long, to be fair, mate. VJ saying also big rule split between small scale 40k and Kill Team is the alternating activation. Some people really love that and wouldn't want to give that up. I think so, mate, but I think those people are the ones that I'm seeing. We're in Group 5. I think they're the ones who love Kill Team, love everything about it, love the alternating activations, and they won't change. That they'll just stick with Kill Team. I'm not saying everybody will ditch Kill Team and move to 40k. There's a part of the Kill Team player base who will not move. I just think that's a small portion. Is the gut feel and the feel I get from listening to the community, hearing comments, hearing how much buzz there is around small scale 40k being really properly kind of catered to, and nobody's right, nobody's wrong kind of thing. I don't want to see Kill Team kind of disappear. I think that if you're a Kill Team player now, I think potentially in 6 months' time to 12 months' time, it might be much harder to get a game of Kill Team in the future. That's where I think it's going to go. Crusade, yes. Just Kev says, shame as I have an absolute ball of Deathwatch Kill Team painted up. You can still play it. This game's not going anywhere, mate. Honestly, it's not going anywhere. You will still be able to play it. Even if GW said tomorrow, we're not supporting it anymore, we're not releasing anything new for it, still take your Kill Team rulebook. One of the beauties of Kill Team is the fact that like 90% of the stuff you need is in this book already. It's already in here. Like this, like all of your army lists, are in here for the vast majority of stuff. So it's a great game in that respect. If you get into small scale 40k, you're gonna have to buy a rule book. You're gonna have to buy a codex. There's no two ways about it really. So it's not like the game's lost. But if you've got that book now, there's nothing stopping you playing that game forever if you love it. Do you know what I mean? And Christian saying not yet, Glenn. I asked earlier today. Yeah, I guess I've just kind of mentioned it. I wasn't intentional on sharing it yet, to be fair. But there's a few people ask me now, and I appreciate you trying to support me as well. So yeah, I'll push it along quick. But I did email them today, so I have been talking to them. Mark was saying just wanted something like Warcry, buy a box with pre-made list with different type of models that I can deploy against someone who did the same without list building. And potentially you might not be far off that with the Start Collecting boxes, mate. I guess we'll see more when the points list comes out. Let's find where that comment was. It's just moved. Pray tell me, friend, was saying, I just want that Space Hulk feel where you roll for Overwatch for every inch the enemy moves while pissing yourself screaming. There is Overwatch in charge, and I think in 40k, isn't it? You do have that in Kill Team as well, yeah. Scott saying, come on, 131 people in the chat, only 72 likes. I've got no idea how many likes. I can't see it on my screen. VG saying, I can't see any fan of alternating activations jumping ship to small scale 40k. But if that's the only thing holding people, I think that's going to be a minority of people. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that's going to be a huge amount of the Kill Team player base. If that's why they play it, then maybe I'm completely wrong. But I think people play it because they want a small scale 40k, generally. Tell my friends, so far I'm convinced to try Warcry with 40k. Warhammer Cry 40k. I think I'm pretty sure there's people working on that kind of stuff in the background, really. Matt Mountain's just donated as well for the super chat. He said, I'll play both, they scratch different itches. Couldn't agree more, mate. I was kind of going to get to that point, to be fair, but yeah, you're right. I'm not suggesting one is better than the other. I'm not suggesting that that you can only play one. For example, if you've got a Kill Team, there's nothing stopping you growing that Kill Team to play 500 points of 40k if you want. If you've got 500 points of 40k, there's nothing stopping you taking a portion of that and playing Kill Team games with your mates. It doesn't really make much of a difference, to be fair, does it? Like, you play the game that you enjoy. Play the game that you enjoy playing with those people. It's irrelevant, really. I just think there's going to be a shift. And that if you're just getting into this for the first time, I think Kill Team will no longer be that obvious entry point into the 40k world, which can only harm it in the long term, I think. Unless 9th edition is absolutely garbage, in which case you might get a lot of people who've bought into the 9th edition and went, whoa, this is awful, I'm going to play a Kill Team with what I've got instead. Lee, sorry, he's saying Kill Team bought... Hello, by the way, mate. How are you doing? He says, Kill Team brought him back in the GW fall after about 6 years away from it. However, I quickly found regular 40k was preferable to Kill Team. Kill Team had a few annoying bits, I felt. You mentioned this in the Facebook group today, mate, and I agree with you. I hear that so often that's exactly why I think the way I think. That's why I think that we'll see more people drifting away from it. I think the fact that people have been starved of new stuff for Kill Team is another reason why I think they'll jump ship. Because actually, by jumping to 40k small scale games, it opens up a whole load of new models you can buy for the army you already have. You can start to get into those vehicles. You can start to get into the flyers. You can start to get into the kind of the fast attack troops and things. You can start running your Terminators. All these different kind of things. So I just think it's less restrictive. And if people have been playing Kill Team for quite some time, it's not changed. The only thing that changes with Kill Team is I'll start a new army. I'll switch some models out. But then Kill Team is very much becoming like... There's not like a meta shift in it, if you like, because nothing changes to shift that meta, if that makes sense. Especially when you've got restricted models. Frantic's in as well. Hello, Frantic. Says if they keep the 3 starter box sets, the big box had some 750, 800 points per side. So even the small ones will be good to start with 9th. Scott says we're starting a slow grow than Andy. Potentially, mate. I don't know. I'm interested in doing it, but I want to hear more. I'm not getting caught up in the hype. I've talked about this many times. Excuse me, I'm not just falling for the fact that it's something new and shiny and it's exciting. I've got models at home that I'm kind of quite happy just to kind of like paint what I've already got. I've still got like the Dark Imperium set that really I'm kind of half finished painting some of that stuff. I'm busy stripping some models at the moment so I could start a game with them. I've still got the stuff that I got in the Kill Team starter set that I'm not finished painting. So it's not like I haven't got models to start with. But I want to know more about the rules. I want to understand what the changes are, if you like. I want to know why is it better. What's happening with terrain? Because, for example, it sounds like they're making terrain more complicated. One of the things I didn't like in AOS was the fact that you used to roll a dice basically to see what kind of terrain, what the effects of terrain was, and you'd go around at the start of the game going, this is dangerous terrain. If you're within 6 inches of this piece of terrain, it's -1 to kind of shooting or something. As soon as you started playing, you forgot all of that kind of stuff. So I want to know more about it before I kind of commit to it. And I've always said the stuff I'll do on the channel is the stuff that I'm interested in. I'm not just doing it for clicks. I'm not just doing it for the hype, if you like. I have to be interested in it. Otherwise I'm just sitting here just trying to say nice things about something I've got no interest in. So as I hear more, if I like more, I like what I hear so far. If I continue to like what I hear, then that's when these kind of things will probably kick off. Like, so Christian's sharing the link for the t-shirts as well, as modelled by moi. Thank you very much, mate. Crowley says, whoa, we have a disliker. Absolutely fine, mate. I have no problems with people not liking my stuff. If it means I worry when there isn't a dislike, because it means it's a bit of an echo chamber then. Devon says, I like the scale of bolt action, technically more aligned with 40k scale, but it feels closer to that 500,000 point sweet spot. I'm not as familiar, mate, with bolt action point sizes and things like that. But yeah, I from what I do understand, bolt action never feels like it grows to kind of like huge scales. I mean, it can, but I don't think it does. Vincent says it's usually the other way around. We had the skirmisher systems draw people into the mass battle systems. That's what I mean, mate. I think like the skirmish systems, like the idea is it's a small scale game that then draws you in to play the bigger scale game. I just think now that 40k has the smaller scale game built into it, so it makes sense to start there. I think that's kind of what I'm getting at. Peter Cooman's in, says, just got home from work. Good evening, chaps. Hello, Peter. How are you? Yeah, Christian's saying it's all challenge interaction. It's worse if they don't hit the button at all. Exactly. YouTube doesn't see likes and dislikes. It just sees interaction. So if somebody clicks a like button, if somebody clicks a dislike button, if somebody leaves a comment, if somebody watches the video, for how long they watch it, all that kind of stuff, that's what they care about. They don't care whether you liked it or not. It's the fact that you were motivated enough to leave your opinion, if you like. That's how they see it as a kind of as a good video. Unless I had like 1,000 dislikes and no likes, then potentially they might not push it out. But I don't even think they kind of go down that far. Topher Toad saying skirmish games are hot right now. I think they're trying to gain their share of that market for their flagship title. I think please go back and watch the Twitch video, which was, I think it was a couple of nights ago or something like that. And they talk about Combat Patrol quite a lot. And essentially what they're saying is it's difficult to get into 40k to go from I don't know how to play, I have no models, to here's the 2,000 point level that pretty much the entire the competitive market has kind of set this benchmark of everyone plays 2,000 points. It's what's put me off 40k in the past. I've talked to Krabby as well about playing small points levels, but nobody really plays them locally because everybody plays at 2,000 points. I'm already hearing that same crowd who play 2,000 points now talking about playing the Crusade stuff, going back and playing smaller points games. Me and Krabby and Jason, a mate of mine, we're already talking about kind of playing 500 points games if the rules are right. So I already think there's a bit of a change coming from that. Tonio Forbin says, hi, thanks for your videos. And by the way, don't play Kill Team, play Dead Zone. That's a different, to be fair, that's a different kind of kettle of fish altogether. And next week we'll be chatting about Dead Zone on the live stream next Monday, because it's the deadline for the Dead Zone Slow Grow Challenge. So we'll be talking about Dead Zone next week. No doubt we'll know more about 40k by then as well. We'll probably start to do a little bit of comparison about what we do know. But by the same stretch, Dead Zone isn't a good introduction to Warpath, to Warpath, for example, because they're completely different games. In the same way, Kill Team isn't the best introduction to full-scale 2,000 point 40k. So it doesn't make it a bad thing. It's the same models in the same way. But I think to be honest, I can't remember if I've done a discussion about Kill Team versus Dead Zone. I might have done, I can't remember. I think I did one about Vanguard versus Warcry. We could maybe do a Kill Team versus the Dead Zone one at some point. But it'll be interesting to see how Dead Zone versus 500 points of combat patrol, if you like, how they kind of balance out. But yeah, thank you for enjoying the videos. Gillian says, Kill Team's never really recovered from fragmented community with optional rules. That's another thing as well, the fact that we've got Arena, which was meant to be the competitive thing, but people don't play Arena, and they do play Commanders, but they don't play Elites, or it might be the other way around, I can't remember. There's all sorts of stuff. I know what you mean about it being fractured. It was one of the things that kind of basically, I ended up drifting away from it for. Peter saying, how are you all? I'm very well, thanks, mate. How are you? Robert Marshall says, I see Kill Team as the XS, and then all the way to Apocalypse at XXL, but Apocalypse also has its own rules. Yeah, and interestingly, I mean, now they're talking about 3,000 points being catered for in 40k rules. I always see Apocalypse as what... It always feels like one of those games that a gaming group might do once a year for their big Christmas game, or they might go, let's get together in the summer, let's have a weekend of playing a big game of Apocalypse, let's get all of our models on the table, we'll have a barbecue, that kind of stuff. It never feels like a game that people play regularly. And I do wonder whether 3,000 points games now, or 3,000 points plus games of 40k on a table size that's bigger than 6x4. We're talking, what was it again? It was like 60 inches by 44 inches. I wonder. Was it 60 inches? No, it was 90 inches, wasn't it? It was 90 inches, sorry, by 44 inches. I just wonder whether that's kind of like, is Kill Team dropping off the bottom end? Is Apocalypse dropping off the top end? And they're really trying to pull everything into 9th edition. Interesting anyway. William Jones, hello mate. He said, I posted this on Facebook already, but this is likely to be back in a day when railroad bypassed some little bird that have been prospering. It will linger for a while, but a decline has set in. It worries me that they say that they're supporting it and there's new stuff coming, and then what we see is cards and dice. Like, if they'd brought out a bit like Monsters and Mercenaries for Warcry, if they'd bought a book like that, like a narrative book for Kill Team, I could say, yeah, they're giving this a bit of a shot in the arm. It's got some legs here. But I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing cards and dice, which it feels a little bit like, really, is that it? Julian said, understand you're not trying to sell it to me, just interested in your thoughts. Yeah, no worries, mate, yeah. Krabby saying, Kill Team 2.0 will be well received with Warcry style rules. It wouldn't surprise me if one of the reasons we're not hearing about Kill Team is Kill Team 2.0 is on the way. Maybe we'll see that kind of like November, maybe with the whole delay in the schedule and stuff, we might not see it till next year now, but it wouldn't surprise me as just when the peak of kind of 40k 9th edition, we're over that edge now and people are just into the new edition and playing games and kind of just enjoying it. Bang, out comes Kill Team 2.0 and kicks that all off again. It would not surprise me if that happens. But at this point in time, with what we know now, for me, Kill Team feels like it's potentially going to lose some player base. Who else we got? Mike H is saying 4-player Kill Team can be great fun with buds and such. I'm not sure with 40k we'll have a 4-player option. Yeah, potentially not me. I've played some 3 and 4-player games of Kill Team and had fun with them as well. And again, we played them on two boards linked together. So yeah, who knows, mate? Who knows? James Firth Hayden, hello mate, how are you doing? He says, not really bothered with GW anymore, models too bloody complicated, instructions are crap. Maybe it's just me getting old, bolt action dread and Walking Dead for me. It's interesting you say that, because I speak to a lot of people who are new to the hobby who say, Mantic, great prices, hate the fact they've got no instructions, Warlord game stuff, fiddly as hell, don't really understand how I'm supposed to be building them. I love Warhammer stuff because they only go together one way. It's really like they're really good quality. Instructions come with everything I buy. There's instructions on how to do it. So it's interesting, as somebody who's maybe been in the hobby for a longer time, you potentially see it differently to somebody brand new to the hobby. And I hear both kind of sides of the story, but it's just interesting that it's almost polar opposite opinions on exactly the same thing. Peter said, I think we would suit GW Kill Team leads to Combat Patrol, which leads to bigger games. Yeah, but the different rules, and that's the thing, I think. That's the thing. Tony Howell, hello, mate. You see, I guess for me, looking at a game with 7 to 15 models where I can customise, as opposed to a game where the model count is still intimidating, massive at entry level, is a big separation. But we're still only talking probably about 20 to 30 models, mate. We're not talking about 50, 60 models here. We're still talking about relatively low model count game in the grand scheme of things. Just Kev said, I'd like the Goblin Gaming link. That's the website I use. I'll sort it all out, mate. Like I say, I'll chase them up again tomorrow. I emailed them today. They're just getting back to work and stuff recently, so I'll give them a chance to kind of to sort that out. Crabby said, imagine how cool a 5,000 point starter box would be. I think you mean 500 point, do you, mate? But I thought 5,000 point would be a big box. Spanky Taz says, thumbs up on the Goblin Gaming angle. I use them for years now and never been disappointed. Yeah, I've tried them with a few bits and pieces. I've had stuff basically arrive in less than 24 hours from ordering it. They always kind of follow it up, make sure everything was okay. I think they've definitely they're just good customer service. Crabby saying, best guys on the cover too, therefore best book in game. Oh yeah, they are, mate. I wonder what we're talking about there. Gene saying they're blending it with an unpredictability is a nice variation too. Yes. Is that where we're up to? Is that the time already? People have a bit of a chat call. A good evening call. It said, shame about Kill Team, love the alternating activations. Don't say shame about it. I'm just giving my thoughts. There's absolutely there's every chance that I'm completely wrong, and Kill Team will flourish from this. That 9th edition doesn't hit the kind of the mark that it wants, doesn't attract the crowd that it wants, and actually the interest in 40k ends up kind of permeating across into Kill Team. Or the new Kill Team 2.0 is just down the road, and we get a sudden influx of new players that way. I'm not saying that it is dead. I'm asking the question, is this the death of Kill Team? Is this basically the player base leaves Kill Team because 9th edition small scale games are exactly what they wanted in the first place? That's where I think it is. But yeah, don't say shame about it. If you enjoy the game, you'll still enjoy the game. And people having a bit of a chat there. So one thing I wanted to kind of show as well, if I can find it, is, let me just get this up here, is this. So what we've got here, let me just zoom that down a little bit so it's not quite not covered under by me. This is the box art for 9th edition, and it's very reminiscent of the Sisters of Battle box art when that new box come out as well. It's really kind of it's got away from that epic battles across the front of the box kind of thing with like Death Guard on one side and Space Marines on the other side kind of thing. It's got away from that. It's got more into a very almost kind of like book cover quite aesthetic, and I quite like it actually. I think it looks really cool, but I'm not sure how everybody else kind of feels about it as well. But yeah, so what's your thoughts on this then? Do you like the new art direction? Are you a bit worried that it just basically it's moving away from them battle things? I've heard loads of people saying that they love those kind of the clashes on the front cover, the big battles. Do you just not care? John Estel saying, I always like the bag of Haribo in the box from Goblin Gaming. Yes, definitely, mate. Another reason, and to be fair, what happened was Goblin Gaming got in touch with me, and one of the reasons that Goblin Gaming is a good fit for me and my channel and stuff like that is they sell they have good stocks of Mantic stuff as well. So a lot of my kind of community and stuff play a lot of Mantic game stuff, and Goblin Gaming have good stocks. They are one of the kind of I can't remember what they're called now, but I think essentially they hold one of everything in stock from Mantic, and they get replenished very quickly. Unfortunately, with Element Games, that wasn't always the case. So when I'm kind of recommending my Element Games link to you folks, you're having to wait weeks and weeks for Mantic stuff, and I want to try and help you get the stuff that you want as quickly as possible while helping me. So that's one of the reasons. And to be fair, I think it was with them speaking to Mantic, they came to speak to me basically. So it was them that made the first contact. To be fair, so yeah, that's one of the reasons, mate. Where did that just go there? Yeah, Haribo in the box is good though. Peter says, I believe the real attraction of Kill Team is that you can play it in your lunch break. I think the thing is, mate, is what they're saying is, with 40k, 500 points combat patrols, you can play that in your lunch break as well, if you get an hour's lunch break. But that was always the same for Kill Team as well, really. I mean, it was never a quick game. Games lasted an hour. It wasn't like they were kind of 15, 20 minutes. They weren't as short as Warcry games. Like they're marketing 40k 9th edition Combat Patrol as games in your lunch break as well. Whether that's you need a big lunch break kind of thing, but that's kind of, I think they're pitching them at exactly the same kind of thing, really. VG saying it's a strongly asymmetrical design. Yeah, it's very much different. I assume they're obviously going to have a big 40k, the new logo on the side or something like that. Maybe that's the slip cover type thing, so once you pull the cover off, maybe that's the bit underneath it. But I'm trying to remember now let's see if I can Google it in the background. The Sisters of Battle box cover, I'm sure was something similar. Sisters of Battle box art. Let's see if that comes up. Yeah, it was a similar kind of thing, wasn't it? So let me where we go, right. So let me just move if I can move that across a little bit. There we go. So this art was very similar. It's got that kind of faded background. It's got obviously like the art off, you see it asymmetrical off to one side. We've got them here as well. So I think it was very much a similar type of thing. So I feel like that's the way it's going, really. Let's go back here. Glenn saying we prefer a big clash for the art. Gene saying, sadly I'm back to work, must run. Have a great evening. Thank you very much, Gene. Yeah, take care, mate. Take care. Just kept saying, I would say the GW artwork is arguing my favourite thing about the game universe. They nail it, don't they? I know people are kind of at the minute talking about like the cartoony type stuff that they do on their what's it called, on the Warhammer community stuff. It's meant to be a bit of fun, really. I think it's not like that comes through to the game exactly. And there was a thing about the art of 40k that they did about maybe last week, and some of that was real grimdark. Matt Mountain says, I love the new art. Hope it comes with a print in the box like some of the other ones. Yeah, I hope that as well, mate. I love that kind of art. It's a bit more subtle, a bit more understated rather. Krabby saying, I love the new art they're doing. Keep meaning to look into who they have doing it. Presume it's the guys who are doing the supplement cover art. Yeah, it's obviously internal artists, I would assume, mate. Peter saying, I used to cut out the big Clash pictures from the boxes and use them as posters in my room. The 2nd edition one is a classic. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they started putting like slip sheets inside the boxes, haven't they, to basically protect the card and paper stuff like the rule books from getting damaged on the sprues. Unfortunately, sometimes that slip card ends up with loads of little dents and things in it. But yeah, I think there was 2 in the Kill Team box, went in at different layers and stuff. Pomsy saying the battle art brings it all to life. This new stuff looks like a GQ aftershave ad. I think it's a bit more mood setting though, rather than it just being this kind of like just this big hang on, there's so much going on, I can't take it all in. I just think it's a bit more subtle, it's a bit more understated. I quite like it. We all love different things, though. That's what's impressive. The Spider-Lord, good evening, Spider-Lord. Thank you for coming in. Says, I think Crusade will be the thing that kills Kill Team. Sorry if I missed that discussion. Yeah, I did kind of touch on that earlier on, mate. I think what I said was basically is that Crusade is the thing that could have really been a shot in the arm for Kill Team. If they brought across that Warcry campaign stuff into Kill Team, I think that would have been a very... Like if they'd kept it out of 40k and put it into Kill Team, you would have really separated those two games apart. And if you're into narrative stuff, maybe I go and play Kill Team. If I just want to kind of slow grow to a big army, then I go into 40k. By putting that narrative campaign into 40k, they've almost kind of made an element of Kill Team redundant, really, I think. Carl says, personally, I think they're going to expand one of my Kill Team starting Crusade force. I think he's going to expand one of the Kill Team starting. For me, it ticks all my boxes: narrative, RPG, campaign, and GW support. All the things Kill Team lacked. Yeah, I don't disagree with you, mate. Pomsy saying, yeah, I get you, I don't hate it at all. Yeah, exactly, mate. Peter says maybe it's deliberately done with them pushing smaller games, smaller clashes in the art. Yeah, hey, potentially, mate. I mean, to be honest, I mean, that's not necessarily a... Let me just go back to it again. Where was the picture? It's not necessarily even a clash. It's like, let's go back to right monitor. It's not... no, my head's stuck right in the middle of the screen. It's not even like it's a clash. It's almost like it's two separate things. Like, we've got the Necrons around here. Does that get any bigger? A little bit. We've got the Necrons around here as if they're like coming across the battlefield towards you, if you like. And you've got this big marine that basically almost just standing. It reminds me more of like Star Wars, like movie poster type stuff. It reminds me of that, like comic book cover type stuff, like brooding kind of stuff, trying to set the tone, as opposed to just there's this big battle. You know what I mean? Anyway, Call saying, yeah, agree with that last point 1,000%. Jesse is in as well. Nice to see you, Jesse. Says, since starting with Warcry, I've been on the fence with 40k and Kill Team for a while. Now with the announcement of Crusade and Combat Patrol in 9th, I don't think I'll bother with Kill Team. First of all, Jesse, thank you for coming into the chat. Second of all, that's kind of where my head is. Your point there is exactly the kind of thing that I feel like I'm hearing a lot in the community. I don't hear the other side as much, which is why there are people who love Kill Team and will always play Kill Team. But I think they're a much smaller portion than the people that are seeing the new stuff coming in the 9th edition and thinking, that sounds really interesting. I can dip my toe in at a relatively small scale and give it a go. So I think you kind of reflect what I'm seeing. VG says the art probably makes a better shelf look for the box, but the battle scenes make for something you can use after your purchase. Wall art for your games room, as I said. So I'd love to see both. We might see both, mate. There's nothing to say that the other side of the box is something different, to be fair. Spylaw says, one thing I wish they had ported from Kill Team was the alternate activation. Don't they have something like that in Apocalypse as well? So it's not been mentioned yet. Wouldn't it be a surprise if they do bring that and we just don't know about it yet? That would really shake things up if they're keeping that kind of stuff back. I don't think they will, but imagine if they did. Spanky Taz says, bit of a challenge to do subtle and understated box art for my beloved orc boys. Maybe you should get like an orc, like a kind of like a deep in thought orc, just having a cigar, just thinking over, what colour shall I paint this? Shall I paint it red? Or shall I paint it red? VJ saying that stuff for the box art battle scenes in the box clips. Yeah, quite potentially, mate. Yeah, quite potentially. And Spylaw says, looking at it again, I just don't think it looks very exciting on the shelf. Do you think anybody buys 40k stuff with the box art? I'm not sure these days. Maybe in the past they did, when you always went into a shop to buy something. Maybe it caught your eye in a kind of a hobby shop somewhere. The vast majority of people already know they're going to buy it and probably buy it online. So I wonder whether it's even relevant anymore. David Moffat says, I like that style of cover. David Delaney, nice to see you, mate. Says his favourite Kill Team is me Star Striders because each of them have their own bit of character. I'd love to see more of that in Kill Team while still allowing customisable teams. Peter saying, yeah, you're right, thought there was a clash in the background. I was wrong. VG says, did they specifically say it's the box art as it looks more like a PC wallpaper to me? It says, I'll even go back and show you, mate. I will. It says, a new Warhammer 40,000 box set is on its way. Not just any box set, mind, but the biggest and most impressive Warhammer 40,000 box ever. And then it says, a Primaris lieutenant takes his rightful place on the box cover. After all, what else could better represent the manifest glory of Warhammer 40,000? So yes, they've definitely said it's the box cover, mate. Pomsey saying that sort of art works really well when you've got 5 different versions of it. Yeah, potentially, mate. Yeah, potentially. Russell Higgins, nice to see you, Russell. He says GW does not support one-off games for longer than an 18-month cycle period. I don't think they see Kill Team as a one-off game in the same way they don't see Warcry or Necromunda. I think they're very different to some of their other stuff, so I wouldn't lump them in with kind of like I wouldn't lump them in with something like a Silver Tower or a Dreadfleet, for example. Paul Inman's in as well. Nice to see you, Paul. How are you doing? Star 97. No idea. I have no idea what that means. Is it secret code, mate? David Delaney says, I love the new art because it reminds me of propaganda posts that you'd see the Empire used to rally the guardsmen. I see that, mate. I get what you're talking about. Vijay says, if they bring alternate activations of 40k, the neckbeards will definitely go into full meltdown. I'm not sure they would, mate. I mean, you're obviously going to get a lot of kind of friction, I suppose. But isn't that the one thing that most people have kind of asked for? Isn't that... I mean... They've already said it's not a massive overhaul, if you like, so I don't think we're going to see it. But the fact that it's in Kill Team, the fact that it was... I'm pretty sure, tell me if I'm wrong, folks, but I'm pretty sure there's something like that in Apocalypse as well. Was Apocalypse the kind of the test for this? Who knows? Peter Kuhlman says, to the gamers, the box art is mostly second. The most important part is the picture that shows what's included. It will be when you're buying online, mate, as well, won't it? And... Pomsey saying could be a slipcover, yeah. Vijay says some people would love it, probably me included, at smaller point sizes, and also love to watch the chat cry. Scott Longwood says, I'm liking how GW are doing 9th. My only hope is that they continue on with it in future editions. What do you mean, mate? Like they continue on with it? Because I think what they've already said is, so from the Crusade side of things, there'll obviously be something comes in the main rule book that introduces you to Crusade, shows you how it works, that kind of stuff, gives you some missions. And then as the new codexes come out, there'll be the missions, specific, like extra missions, if you like. This is probably where we'll start to see some of the expansion books and things coming that you know, how we get, what's it called, Psychic Awakening and stuff. Maybe that's the kind of books that we'll see coming in the future. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting anyway. Peter Kuhlman says, yeah, Dreadfleet. Spider Lords, I think Kill Team was the gateway game that will now be replaced by 40k combat patrols. The raising points ties with this too. I kind of see that as well, mate, to be fair. VG saying, yeah, definitely the box art. I'm hoping for a battle scene slip inside. I think what we'll probably see inside, if the other stuff's anything to go by, is just a big logo. So Kill Team, for example, just had a massive big Kill Team logo on the box. Did they have anything on the other side? I don't think they did, actually. Spider Lord saying the Start Collecting set would now be a combat patrol in a box for quite a few armies. Yeah, there or thereabouts, but it might be you need to add maybe one, like an HQ choice to it or something like that to boost the points up, or maybe if you buy like an extra sort of troop choice or something like that. But I think essentially you're going to be there or thereabouts from what they're saying. Lee Russell said, isn't Apocalypse basically just the epic Armageddon rules scaled up to 40 skill? I'm not sure, mate. I've never played Apocalypse, but I'm sure I remember when there was a new version of it came out not too long ago. Let me just see what it's... I wonder whether I'll even be able to find it on their website. Is it under 40k? Is it under box games? It must be under 40k, I think. Let's just type it in. Let's see if we can find it. Well, it started to come up. There it was. Warhammer 40,000 Apocalypse. Let's go across. So this is what they've got for Apocalypse at the minute. Bespoke rule system designed for swiftness of gameplay. See if it says anything about it. Battleforged armies, Warhammer 40,000 collection organised in any of 10 different detachments. Move and fight together on the battlefield. Innovative rules for Apocalypse enable you to play massive battles to completion in a matter of hours. Alternating detachment activations ensure there is minimal downtime for players. maintaining the fast pace and exciting action throughout. Damage is resolved in the final phase of each game, meaning that even units that are destroyed will still have a chance to make their mark on the battle before they succumb. So I think because you're moving so many models, like if you've got 5,000 points, the player on the other side of the field is just going to go, oh Jesus, he's going to be an hour moving all of these kind of things. By the time you move them all, and then do all the shooting, and do all the close combat, and all that kind of stuff. So I think they built something in to try and streamline it a bit so it was backwards and forwards. And then if you shot me and you basically killed all my models still got to shoot back at you before they were taken off. So it was almost as if it had happened at the same time. I wonder whether we'll see any of that come across into 9th edition. I think I moved it as we jumped up there. VGC alone, honestly, I probably wouldn't pick up the box. I have zero interest. Matt Nantis just subscribed. You just subscribed? Matt Nantis just subscribed. How very dare you? Kieran saying the thing I had is the big take half my army off first term. If they don't address this, then combat patrol will not work really. So just have to wait and see. I think what they're obviously looking at things like terrain is more important now. Cover works differently now as well, I think they said. But I agree. That's going to be the bit that is important, I think. They must have done something to try and combat that. Otherwise, especially when you're starting closer together as well now. Spider-Lord, thank you very much for subscribing, buddy. Carrie says they would still complain as proven by Primaris. Everyone wanted true scale and then cry when they came out. Yeah. Adam says Apocalypse isn't alternate activations. You just don't remove any models until both players have had their turn. Yeah, VJ saying Kill Team had the logo on one side and a Battle Say on the other. I opened the box at the weekend. I can't remember seeing the Battle Say, and that was all, mate. Scott says Kill Team was a standalone game, but then they released Commanders and Elites. But how many variants of Kill Team has there been now? Commanders and Elites were expansions, like optional expansions to Kill Team, in the same way that Monsters and Mercenaries was an optional expansion to Warcry. Arena was something different. I'm still not entirely sure what it is. I bought it and I still don't even really know what it is. But it's like the core rules. The core rules for Kill Team are in this box. In this book, sorry, these have never changed. These are the rules. No matter what else has come out, these are still the core rules. In the same way that the Warcry book is the core rules for Warcry as well. VG saying it's a great piece of the two in-game factions in the box. Probably one of my favourite pieces. I know exactly which one you mean now, mate. I don't remember seeing it in the box, but I know the piece of art that you mean. Peter Kuhlman says, seriously, love my Dreadfleet, such beautiful models, great terrain, tablecloth art and stuff. Do you know what, mate? I've got no complaints about the quality of the components of Dreadfleet. I've got it as well, mate. And every now and again, I go back and paint another one of the ships. Carl says, one positive thing about this whole thing is GW seems to be pulling from their whole ecosystem of games when designing 9th. The hit on 6s from Kill Team, for instance, he is hoping for a Kill Team 2.0. I think time will tell, and we'll know for sure once we actually get our hands on it, but it feels like they're moving in the right direction. It feels like they're really addressing narrative gaming when it comes to 40k. It feels like they're really addressing small-scale entry points when it comes to 40k. It feels like if you're a competitive gamer, they've gone and talked to the competitive crowd. They've got the guy from Nova Open, I think it is. Is it Nova Open or LVO? I think it's the Nova Open guy. They've got him basically on board now, sort of trying to get a competitive rule set or a competitive sort of tournament pack that the community uses, instead of them having to go off and create their own and compacts and all that kind of stuff. So it feels like they're really trying to get a hold of it. But then I guess when you've got the core rules down, maybe that's where you spend your time. You knock the edges off it at that point. So hey, time will tell. But so far so good. So far so good. VJ saying Dreadfleet came out after I left the Holly, but I love a bit of Man of War. To be honest, mate, I've used the mat for what's it called? For Blood Red Skies, for like fighting over the sea and stuff like that, Battle of Britain stuff. Spider Lord says Kill Team had its time. It's pretty unbalanced though, and they never really sorted it. Death Watch with 4 Flamestone cannons, ridiculous. I think the Kill Team kind of crowd, the Kill Team community, have almost just kind of taken that game and made their own rules up for it now. I think they've pretty much tried to fix that stuff. Just looking down. We've just got a new Dummy Thick Dave pledged on Patreon. Thank you very much, Dummy Thick Dave. It's not a name I recognise, so if it's somebody else in the chat, please do shout up just so I know who it is. But thank you very much. For those that don't know, anybody that's new there, this is my full-time job now. I do content creation for a full-time job. I don't do any paid promotion and stuff. I don't do any paid for videos for any companies. Everything I do is supported by the community. So people like Dummy Thick Dave there, and anybody that's kind of pledged tonight and donated on the super chat and stuff, you're essentially paying my wages and keeping me independent. So thank you very much. It is hugely appreciated. Kieran says Kill Team brought all the books out because players wanted all their 40k collection to be used. This is what caused overcomplication on top of the extra rules. I think that I tend to disagree with that a little bit, because when Kill Team came out, those other books came out really quickly afterwards. They were already sorted before those books came out, if you like. Before Kill Team released, Commanders and Elites were already kind of already done and ready to go. There's still a lot of restrictions in Kill Team. There's still a lot of stuff that you can't take. And I think the more they introduce to Kill Team from options, the more you get to the point where you go, well, I might as well just play 40k now. So it blurs the lines even more. It almost goes like even further to kind of backing up what I was saying before, really. Spider Lord says I still have my box of Dreadfleet. Didn't think it was that bad a game. Just very much wasn't what people wanted. Wasn't Man of War. It's funny you say that. It's not a competitive game, like by any stretch of the imagination. It was a very thematic game, and it was like there was some really kind of crazy stuff that would happen, and there was always that point where actually something stupid would really kind of ruin your plan, if you like. If you're just in it for the theme and for the actual kind of like the crazy story behind it, you'll have a good time with the game. It's all right. But if you were trying to get this kind of very balanced sort of tight rule set, that's not what Dirtfleet was. I think you're exactly right. It wasn't what people wanted. In the same way people complain about Warcry because it wasn't Mordheim. It's a similar kind of thing, really. Different Gear TV says, where are we at? I don't know if I said it this time. I was trying not to, though. Scott says, do you think they will still do other boxes like Prophecy of the Wolf, etc. in 9th? 100%, mate. That's the way they bring in new sculpts for like kind of characters now, is they package them up in a big box and they shift thousands of those things. That's how they pay for molds. Because, for example, if they do, let's say Necrons, right? Just because Necrons are the new stuff that's coming. If they did a new Necron load, like just a normal HQ choice, not like one of the big kind of Silent King things, just a Necron HQ choice. The people that would buy that are people that play Necrons already. Some people probably might not buy it because they'll go, well, I've kit bashed a version of that one. I don't really need it or anything like that. So the sales of an individual single HQ choice are relatively low. However, if you do 2 of those, one for Necrons and let's say Space Marines because they're in the starter box, let's say you do that, and then you pack the box full of existing units and make it good value for that whole box, you sell thousands of those boxes. Prophecy of the Wolf, you've got the new Gutbusters and the, what they call the Ogres and the Ossiarch Bone Reapers and stuff like that. That's how you shift big units of new armies, big units of new models. And then what they do is that they pay for the molds, they pay for themselves, and then basically later on down the line, once that's died down or they've sold all of those HQ choices then come back as a single pack or a single blister type thing. So yeah, that's their new model now, mate. That's how they keep shifting big chunks of stuff. They make them what's the word I'm looking for? They make them scarce. You know, if you don't jump in now, you won't get it kind of thing. We will sell out. They make them scarce, and they basically don't go back and reprint them. That ensures that they shift big numbers of that kind of stuff, and it keeps the money coming through. So yeah, I don't see any reason why they'll stop doing that kind of stuff. VG saying cool. I might give it a go on top TTS and get into it. We must be talking about something else. Colin McMinnell says, greetings from Kiwiland. How are you doing, Colin? Very nice to have you in. Thank you very much for joining us. Where did that go? I've lost it there. Oh, we're back. VJ saying, I love putting the slip art on my studio wall. The Speed Freaks slip art is particularly good. I don't think I've ever seen that one, mate. You have to get me a picture of it. VJ saying, saw that they have no more Rona in the wild and will be fully reopened soon. Yeah, very, very much so in New Zealand. It's been definitely kind of led by example there. Spanky Taz says, did the Rona kill off all the hobbits or did they just hunger down the burrows? And David Delaney says, that'll be me. David Delaney, don't we think, Dave? Thank you very much, fella. Really do appreciate it. Simon York says, yeah. Actually, how many Patreons have we got now? Because remember, when we get to 100, we're gonna have a bit of a special giveaway. So let's see how many we've got now. We're at 88 now. We're only 12 Patreons away from that super special Hero Quest giveaway. So yeah, not too long now, folks. You got to be in it to win it. Simon York's here. We dropped to what we call level 1, which is just the virus is still in the world but not here, so we can go about life as normal. Yeah, I was reading that this morning. It's fantastic to hear. Absolutely fantastic. It's good to see people getting back to normal, if you like. Busey saying the Kill Team box seems such good value with the terrain. I'd still buy it now. It was available. It was worth it for the terrain alone, mate. Loads of people just bought it for the terrain. They made a bit more money back by selling off the rule book, selling off the two kind of factions that were in there as well. But yeah, the terrain was fantastic. The terrain in Warcry was amazing. The terrain in Kill Team was amazing. I painted all of my Kill Team terrain up, all like the starter box stuff, really quickly, and it looks like it's a really simple paint job, but it looks fantastic. Honestly, I'll get some pictures up at some point. Especially now I've got this kind of this mat all cut ready to size. Just I wanted to see how big it would be. So yeah, really good. Simon York says, hello, by the way, was lurking. Nice to see you, Simon York. How are you doing, mate? And where? Crabby says, can we have an explanation of the name, David? VG says, speaking of tabletop simulator, if anyone wants to learn Blitzball, just hit me up. I might do, mate, actually. If we can kind of get a time that works for both of us, I might do. Just teach me it. Tell me why it's good. The Spider Lord says the expansions would download with DLC. They could have easily been in the original book, especially if they removed the name chart. I kind of agree with that, mate. They were definitely written before. It's the same with the Warcry stuff. They came out so quick afterwards. There's no way they were kind of like reacting to the community ideas or anything like that. They were already written. If you remember, I think in the Rogue Trader box, when Rogue Trader rules came out, they mentioned commanders in the Rogue Trader box, and commanders hadn't come out yet. And there was some talk about how they'd released them in a different order for whatever reason. But that just shows everything was already kind of there in the background waiting to come out. Spylord saying war game DLC is a thing now. It's not the end of the world. It's optional, mate. That's at the end of it. If you're enjoying it, if you're enjoying the game and you want more, it's optional. And as long as they don't start changing the rules, changing the core rules in expansion stuff, I'm cool with it. You take it or leave it. It's entirely up to you if you want to choose it. If you start changing core rules, that's when you start to like splinter off the community around stuff. VJ saying also, I'd love to play and video stream more games with TTS on the Discord. So if anyone's up for having game day once a week or fortnight, give me a shout. Let's chat about that in the Discord, mate. Because to be honest, it'd be nice for me to do something that's not all tabletop stuff all the time anyway. So I mean, for my own personal kind of downtime, my own hobby. Peter says, I never played Man of War, so didn't expect it. Yeah, I've never played it either, mate. I never played Man of War. I never played Epic Armageddon. I never played Mordheim. Like I wasn't really gaming in that era of gaming. Battlefleet, Gothic, none of those stuff. I don't know anything about them really. So I don't look back on them with rose tinted glasses. Yeah, Christian's just shouting where the link is as well. Thank you very much. David saying it's self-explanatory. Thank you, David. There's an image I won't get in my head now for the rest of the night. Richard Smith says, bought cool models for Kill Team. That's why I like the look of, and now just think I'll try my hand at 40k. Far easier. To be honest, mate, I struggle to get a game of 40k. I think locally now. I know. I think GW in Newcastle still have a few players, but from what I hear, it's pretty much from Noxie basically who plays there. He's pretty much saying that it's a lot of Warcry games that get played there now. I know that I can get some games of 40k at small points. I mean, like I said before, me and Krabby have been chatting about it. We'll have some games. Jason, my mate as well, who's my normal kind of gaming partner, or will be when we can start to play games again. We're talking about kind of jumping in on 500 point, but I'm not really thinking of climbing much bigger than that. I think I'd rather have multiple 500 point armies I'd rather have 4 500 point armies for different factions than have 1 2,000 point army, I think, at this stage. Spanky Taz says, when I'm finally allowed out of medical isolation, I'm adopting Bruce Campbell's version of social distancing. It's called melee range. My local gaming store have just advertised they're doing their 40k tournament stuff, starting again in July now. Now, kind of, it's not really been announced in the UK that we can start to kind of do that kind of stuff again. What they're saying is they've put social distancing measures in place. There's less tables and stuff, but as long as we've still got 2 meter kind of like distancing and meeting outdoors only, I'm not sure how they can do that, if I'm honest. VG says, I'm so grateful for local box splitters. Getting those characters without having to buy the full box is a godsend. Yeah, you might have to pay a little bit over the odds, but like, but at least you get them, kind of thing. Wow. Just suddenly jumping away there. Apologies for going quiet there. I was kind of reading the chat, and then there was way more than I thought there was. Spider Law says, I think it's the first starter set I can use all the models since 4th edition. Peter Curran says, no, seriously, anyone ever tried Grimdark Future Firefight? Looks like Kill Team and pretty fun. No, never heard of it, mate. Adam Mega says, Fear of Missing Out. I don't know what that was in relating to. Yeah, Fear of Missing Out. Vincent says, hey guys, I just started my Dead Zone Slow Grow Challenge. Well, you've got a week, mate, Vincent. You've got a week to get it done. You think you're going to do it? Of course you are. Of course you are. David Buffett says, I've never been able to get any one-page rules games on the table. I think this is another thing, and I'm going to talk about that in a few weeks' time as well, is about these kind of like miniature agnostic games. Everyone talks about them and about how great they are and about you can use any minis you want, but I never really hear of people playing them, or certainly not like in any earnest, if you like. That's something I want to kind of discuss in the future. James says, I still have Aussie Arcs to paint, August to build, fear of missing out. Sorry, that's what we're talking about, those box sets, aren't we? Yes, fear of missing out. Yeah, I've got my Aussie Arc Bone Reapers were all painted from that set, and my Ogres have been converted to using Warcry as well, so... Vincent says he needs some victims for his experiments mixing his own washes. Scott says he started doing his test colours for his new Drukhari army. I did a bit of a test model myself the other day. Let me see if I can just grab it, because I haven't got my... I got this little miniature. I'll see if I can get... which is one of the... what they call the Skitari guys, the Admech guys from the Kill Team box, which I'd never done anything with. Let me see if I can get that too. Get that. There we go. I just did that as a little bit of a test, so there we go. I did one model purely because I was in a grumpy mood and I just wanted to paint something that I didn't care if I ruined it. So yeah, I just thought I'd just do that for a bit of fun. VJ says I just need to get 12 mates to sign up to the Patreon. Yes, do it. And you can finally get a fully painted hero quest. You need to get those 12 mates to give it to you as well, so then you've got a 13 in 100 chance, a 1.3% chance of winning. Crabby says, can't wait to destroy them. Carl says, talking to your point of box characters, I think the Warcry models is the way forward for Kill Team. They need to have new cool custom Kill Teams. 100%, mate. It was one of the biggest reasons I think Kill Team never really kind of hit the ground running. The box sets that they brought out were the ones with a little bit of terrain in. But what was in that box, like models-wise, wasn't like a Kill Team. It was the start of a Kill Team, so you still had to go out and buy more models. If they had sold a Kill Team in a box, that would have been a completely different game. Scott says, come on, people, it's $2 a month to join us in the Patreon. It's good crack. Yeah, if you do, you can join the Patreon from as little as $2 a month, and that gets you access into the Discord group. So, which is kind of, it's a bit like the chat tonight, but just on a 24-hour-a-day basis, really. So yeah, if you want a bit of a friendly community to hang out on, there's only 88 people in that there. There's 88 people in there because I'm in there as well. So it doesn't kind of get out of hand. We've got loads of stuff that kind of like loads of different groups set up to chat about different games and things. It's a nice little place to hang out. $2, you can do it for a month. Just give it a try, see what you think, and then just cancel it if it's not for you, and not bother coming back, kind of thing. So yeah, it's worth it if you're looking for a kind of a friendly community to kind of hang out in. Barry Cliver says, as it turns out, I bought Shadow War again just for the terrain. Yeah, me too, mate, I think. David Moffat says, still haven't built his kill team terrain, but I don't regret buying it. It's amazing, mate. It's amazing kill team terrain. Yoakum is saying, good night, folks. Good work as usual, Blackjack Legacy. Thank you very much, Yoakum, and thanks for an interesting and lively chat. Yeah, it's been a good one tonight, folks. We've had plenty of people in the chat all night. VG says that'll be cool about the Rogue Trader. Scott says you missed some classics, Andy, back in the day. I'll join for some. Oh, nice one, Scott. Yeah, well, there's another one. We've got like 4 of us from a little local group anyway, so that sounds good. Busey says, anyone got a link for those rose tinted glasses? Yeah, I'm sure GW will sell them, mate. Where are we at? Krabby saying, you bring the armies, I shall destroy them. Yes. Vijay says, also on Tabletop Simulator. Is anyone familiar with Kings of War who'll be interested in teaching me? I know how to play it. I've got no idea how to play it on Tabletop Simulator, mate. Mike G says, changing core rules and having you do card chase, having to buy minis you don't want to get cards. Yeah, I can't stand it either, mate. That's why I like the core rules to stay the core rules, and I don't mind any optional expansion or any optional kind of add-on stuff as long as it's optional. Don't put rule, like, it's one of the things that massively turns me off Necromunda. The rules are scattered all over the place. You've got to buy multiple books to kind of keep up with it. It's one of the big things that turns me off Necromunda. Spider Lord says, we struggle to get 40k out of the way at any real points value these days. Look forward to combat patrols and incursions. It doesn't help that one of my opponents is glacially slow. Need to put a rocket up his backside, mate. Carrie says, we have to arrange a date at the bunker on the regular for us local lads. Yeah, once we can start... I'm not sure we're necessarily ready to start going, even if they are starting to play there again at the minute. But yeah, once it's kind of a bit more socially acceptable, shall we say? Yeah, we'll definitely get a local day going, mate, with the boys. Spanky Taz says, yeah, help run a gaming club in Newcastle. We're all chomping at a bit to get back, but I've got no idea how you can realistically do it. Spanky Taz, which gaming club do you run in Newcastle, mate? Because I'm looking for gaming groups now. Before, when I was doing a full-time job, I was either working away or I was looking after like the little one while my wife was working away. My wife ain't going to be working away for any time soon, and this is my job now. I'm starting to get my evenings back to be able to do other stuff. So yeah, which gaming group do you run, mate? Tim Kelly's for a daft laugh. David Moffat says, I seldom play a non-miniature agnostic game, but that's what my gaming friends are into. Seldom play a non-miniature agnostic game. If your group only wants to play branded games, you're stuck playing with yourself. But that's kind of the feeling I get, mate, is because these games are kind of like quite rare anyway. I think unless you're in a gaming group that are really into that kind of stuff, that's the only way I ever see that happen. Vijay says, yeah, that mini came out great. The colour choice is great. Do you know what it is, mate? I've wanted to do something where I prime it kind of like a purpley pink underneath, and then come at the top with a yellow just to kind of see how it turned out. And yeah, I was quite happy with how it turned out for a really quick job, mate. Peter said, I posted Grimdog Future Back Rep on the Facebook group a week or two ago. I play a lot of miniature agnostic games. Vijay says 13 in 100 chances, 13%. I was thinking, you know what it is? It's been a long day, mate, yeah. You have a 13% chance. Fat Cat says, did you share the Goblin Gaming affiliate link? I must have missed it. Any discount codes to celebrate the new partnership? Now you'll be making the millions. I haven't shared it yet, mate, and there is no discount codes at the minute because I haven't finished sorting it out with them, really. I've got the affiliate link already set up, so I could give it to you now. Well, not now because I'm working at the minute, but I could set that up straight away. And if you're shopping with them, you can use it. But I haven't. they've not given me any kind of a specific codes or anything, because we're still trying to kind of talk and set that up really. Vijay says, but here, who needs maths in our hobby? Barry saying, rose-tinted glasses, red paint and handles. That's why I said I think GW was selling. That's exactly where my head was at, Barry. Michael Olsen says, if you guys like 40k, Lord, I would like to give a shout to Voldemort. One of, if not the best Lord channels. Lord, I'm assuming you mean Law, mate, yeah? Motor says, if I create 12 more Patreon accounts, can I have 13 out of 100 chance of winning? Of course you can, mate, yeah. If you create 12 more accounts, of course you can. Good evening, Anna. Greg has just pledged as well for the Patreon. Thank you very much, Greg. Nice to have you aboard. Welcome to the team. Anna says, missed the stream. Is Kill Team dead or not? We've got it on live support, Anna. You're fine. Spider Lord says, the Necromunda thing is very annoying. War game DLC gone wrong. Don't feel like the slowed release schedule helped either. I jumped on the hype train at a time, but think I'll just play the classic. Yeah, you and a few other people, mate. Yes, to be fair. Anna says, but rise again, harder and stronger. And Tim says, only after 15 minutes. To be honest, I think to kind of like summarize that whole Kill Team thing, I think I'll say what I said before, really. I honestly think that if 9th edition ends up being as potentially good at like an improvement, if you like, for smaller scale games as it looks like it's going to be, and Kill Team does not get an update in the next 6 months, I think it's pretty much it'll be a game that still gets played, but by a very small portion of the community. In the same way something like Speed Freaks gets played by a really small portion of the community, or well, yeah. Lee says, top stream, mate. Got a scoot. Night all. Thanks, Lee. I'll catch you later, fella. Peter says, I play the rose-tinted glasses games like Epic 40k and Mordheim, but that's because it took me longer to paint this stuff. David says, it's as dead as you want it to be. Exactly. That's it, to be fair. It is as dead as you want it to be. If you want to play it, it's still alive and kicking. Jesse says, I think GW would attract new players to games that have core rules plus multiple expansions if they released a combined book on the anniversary date. I guess that's kind of what they're starting to do. So things like the Kill Team Annual. Mike G, thank you very much, mate, for pledging. Is that 90 people have we hit now? Is that 90 people? Let's have a look. Yes. Yeah. We're at 90. You can't see that. We're at 90. 10 people shy of a magic 100. That'll be awesome. Where are we at? Yeah, sorry, they're starting to do that with things like the Kill Team Annual, with things like the War Cry. What was it called again? I forget what it was called. I've got it over there and I can't read it from here. My eyesight's shut. Champions, Tome of Champions, that's where it is. That Tome of Champions book, that's kind of what they're starting to do, isn't it? Spylord saying, how much has been released for Kill Team apart from the dice this week? It's been a while. It's been a long time, mate. The Kill Team starter box, the second version of it, was probably the last thing. And the Kill Zone, which was the kind of those weird trees and forest thing, I think those were the last two things that's been... Oh, actually, yeah, I think those are the last... No, that was even for Warcry. God, I can't remember the last time anything's been released for Kill Team. Simon saying, maybe not quite as low a number of Speed Freaks. Yeah, maybe not as low as that, but you get where I'm trying to kind of come from. Spunky Taz says, Wieldy with 30... Wieldy, where the hell's that, mate? I'm not sure where that is, buddy. Vijay says, I own Speed Freaks, got the box for the minis, but still keen to finally get a game of the rules. Is anybody kind of... anybody thinking about picking up the new... what's it called? Aeronautica Imperialis with the new starter box that's coming out. I must admit, it's a game that intrigues me. I'd quite like it, I think, just to paint the models that's in there as something a bit different. Tim says, Speed Freaks, any good? Worth buying just for the minis? I think it was one of those things where it was almost... It was another way... This is when I go back to kind of like paying for molds for models. This was the way to pay for the molds for the Orc vehicles, because those Orc vehicles can be used in 40k. It was another way. it's the way they do these terrain boxes for Kill Team and Warcry. It's a way to pay for the molds, shift loads of the stuff, get them paid for, get it out there. They do it all the time. Spider Lord says, Tony Champions, that was it, mate. Yeah, Anna says, do we get a happy dance at 100 Patreons? I tell you what, when we get to 100, I'm going to do the giveaway anyway, so we're going to do that giveaway to the Patreons. So when we get to 100, I'll set the competition up basically, but you will be able to win my own personal, original, fully painted copy of Hero Quest. So that's to say thank you. As I said before, this is my job now. I'm supported by you as community members, those that appreciate the kind of like the stuff that I talk about, the bit of entertainment that I kind of provide, that kind of thing, and the fact that it keeps me completely independent. And if I can't give something back to you, like what you're doing for me means the world to me. So I'm going to give something back to you that means the world to me as well. So it's like it's the important. It's not even the fact that I'm just giving something away. It's the fact that because it means something to me, like that's how important it is. Like what you do for me, kind of thing. I really appreciate that. Mike G says, I don't know what the hell happened. I was a Patreon, but went there and it said I wasn't. Been meaning to bump up my pledge level, so just chose that. Thank you very much, mate. I think sometimes basically if it doesn't take the payment 1 month and there's loads of reasons why the payments fail and stuff, I don't know if it tells you, because I never know how to deal with it. But there's sometimes when people's payments don't go through, and I think, do I kind of chase them and do I tell them the payment hasn't gone through? Because I can see the ones that haven't gone through, because obviously it tells me how much revenue I'm due each month, and it tells me whose payments gone through, whose payments gets retried and stuff. So I think should I email them, or like should I just leave it, like that kind of stuff? It's a funny one. Where are we? Six in the Head says, I need to renew my Patreon. I've got a new card I saw this week. No worries, buddy. I appreciate that, mate. Spider Lords, I think I almost jumped a bit there. 3 films behind Scotty. Maybe pick one of the factions, start collecting, but which one? Pick comes to Speed Freaks, like good old Gorka. Similar, I think, mate. Actually, no, I don't know if it is. VJ says a lot of those Killzone boxes were existing terrain sets paired with a board. Yeah, they definitely were, mate. Yeah, they definitely were. Spider Lord says, I got the first box of the AI. The maneuvers are unwieldy, but it's good fun. Scott saying I looked at it as well. Mike G says, I've been using the Discord enough. I was signed up. Feel like I've been ripping you off. To be honest, mate, it's one of the reasons why I asked everybody to go in and tell me who you are by name, because the names don't like match up, to be fair. So I do. Now we've got quite a few people in there. It's hard for me to tell who are the people that have paid and who are the people that haven't paid, and I need to kick them out of the group. It's admin for me at the minute. So. Spider Lord says, be getting new Imperial planes. Anna says, Alan has the new Aeronautica. Tom bought it from Father's Day. Meant to be playing the Tau. They look smart. Yeah, they do look smart. Dice Hands, I want to pick up Aeronautica Imperials, but then I bought Marvel Crisis Protocol. Have you played it yet, mate? What do you think of it? Spider Lord says, again, not sure they shouldn't do more factions quicker and get more people invested. Yeah, I do know what you mean. It's another one of those games that's a bit slow, but I think I'd play it as kind of a one-off. I don't think it's something I would necessarily go. I think I'd play it like a board game, really. Mike saying, if my payment doesn't go through, please send me a message. Okay, mate, I will do. Christian said, I won't be winning it as I withdraw my name from the hat. That's entitled to you, mate, but I want it. Everybody's entitled to win it, put it that way. VG, I'm pretty sure there's a version of Aeronautica on Tabletop Simulator. I might have to look for that, mate. Dylan Moffat says, I used to stare at VG Morph like a creep during my lunch break this week at the TMX. Where are we up to? 6 in the head. I need hero quest. Like, I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the morning light. And Spylo says, Marvel Quest Protocol is awesome. Expansions are pricey, though the core box is good value and the game is a lot of fun. Wish it had more mission variety. I'm tempted just because I kind of love comic book stuff, but I'm definitely more of a DC fan than I am Marvel. That's the thing. And Night models, I ain't keen on them. Spider Lord, really thematic, loads of emphasis on superpowers. How are we doing for time? Oh, we just passed 11 o'clock now. I think we'll wrap it up there, folks, because it's been a long day. So, this week we have, if you haven't already seen it, In fact, let me just give you a little bit of marketing from my channel. Let's open this one up. Let's open this one up. Let's open. Let's open this one up. Right. Let's go across here. So, folks, if you haven't already seen it, Code 1, Is It Still Too Complex? This is my review of the Operation Colstrom box set and the Infinity Code 1 rules. If you haven't seen it, please do go and check it out. I'd really appreciate it. It's a video I'm quite proud of. I think it's like I think I did a good job of it, kind of thing. Whether you agree with my opinion or not is completely different. But I think it was a good video. I'd really appreciate if you go and check that one out. On Wednesday, we'll have another hobby hangout. So let's go back. Hobby hangouts. So depend upon, I might still be painting my Vayman to make the deadline for next week. But yeah, we'll be painting something. So hobby hangouts on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, can I show you? I wonder if I can show you what we've got coming on Wednesday. Because it's already sorted. It's ready to go, to be fair. I think I might have to show you behind the scenes into the YouTube studio up here, but I will show you what's coming on Thursday. Can I show this without showing the whole thing? I think I kind of can. Yeah, so here's a quick glimpse. Is that basically so? Tabletop standard does not exist. That is the video. Yeah, that's as much as you get to see. I'm sure you'll go back and pause it and see if you have a look for anything. Is there anything in there you shouldn't have seen? Let me have a look. Nah, there's not, is there? It's just all my links and stuff. So, yes, tabletop standard does not exist. That video will be out on Thursday, sorry. Again, I'd love you to come and check it out. Again, it's a piece of work that I'm happy with, and the fact that I'm kind of cranking out a minimum of 3 videos a week now. Hopefully you're kind of seeing that, like, what your Patreon money has been kind of pledging towards and giving me the time to do this kind of stuff. So I really appreciate it. We'll just say a few goodbyes to people. Vijay says, cheers Andy, thanks for the stream, mate. 6 in the head, peace homies, Crabby Vision, really enjoyed the banter tonight. Thanks Andy and chat. Scott says, cheers. Greg says, my sister-in-law is from Stirling, Scotland, and her mother recently passed from cancer. If I win the Hero Quest, I would like to auction and donate the amount of cancer research indicate. Greg, very sorry to hear your sad news, mate, but that's a very awesome gesture, mate. And if that is the case, I'm sure we'll sort something out for that one as well. David says, I'm glad not to be working a day. Great to catch the stream. Thank you, David. Awesome to have you in. Christian saying, thanks, Andy and Knight. All take care. Spider says, thanks, Andy. It's a pleasure. I've been here on my work profile. Alan Ward. Nice to see you, Alan. Matthew says, bye all. Miss Wednesday because I've got a game of Dead Zone. I can cut you some slack for that one, mate. Don't worry about that. Matthew says, by all. Yep, Peter saying, we decide how poorly Kill Team is. It's only going to die if you stop playing it, mate. Tim Kelly saying, cheers all. VGS say, ooh, what was that one? VGS said, anyone's keen on the tabletop simulator stuff, hit him up on a Discord. Nice one, mate. Yeah, we'll get it sorted at some point, mate. Spylaw says, great Infinity review. Really wish they'd make the jump to plastic. Yeah, I agree, mate. Peter's intrigued. William says, looking forward to that. Anna says, night all. Is anybody else missed? Tony Booth Leiden, nice to see you in, fella. Marco, quite surprised with the new starter set. Dice Hand, really like the game mechanics of Marvel. John France, another good one. Thanks, mate. And Scott saying he's just got a new phone, so he's got to reinstall Discord. And Steve Evans says, night all, he's been lurking. Thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate that, mate. Next week, Dead Zone in the Monday night live stream, because we've got the competition basically to see who's winning the slow grow challenge for the strike team. So, and Marcus says, if we get to 100 during the live stream, I want the happy dance. 100 on Wednesday, yeah. If we get to 100 Patreons on Wednesday, or if we hit 100 Patreons at any time up to Wednesday, we'll do the happy dance on Wednesday. So, thank you very much, folks. If you had pledged at the $5 or more level prior to tonight, watch the outro now for the video, and you'll see your name in the comments. So, thank you very much, folks. I'll see you on Wednesday. Thanks for watching my video. I hope that you really enjoyed it. And if you did, why not consider clicking on the suggested video below to see more of the work that I've done. If you'd like to support the long-term sustainability of this channel, why not consider checking out my Patreon, where you can pledge and support from as little as $2 a month, and there is lots of different tiers and bonuses which will give you access to a private Discord server. It will give you free t-shirts, free mugs, a podcast every month, and a number of other things, including getting your name at the end of every video, like these awesome folks who already support me now.